Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So, today I'm joined by three special guests. You might recognize them from previous live streams. We're going to be talking about what we like the best and what we don't like very much about DC Comics. You know, it can be something they're doing right now. I'm mostly going to focus on current events, but it can be throughout all of DC history. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce everybody for people who don't know. First off, we have Nerdette.
Hey everybody, this is Tristan with Nerd and Nerdettes Anonymous. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, absolutely. And she's got a pretty awesome YouTube channel. I'll post a link to it in the chat here in a little bit. I'll post everyone's stuff in the chat, but she's got a gamer channel, so definitely check that out. And also we have DMI. You might know him as Second Prince on Twitter. How you doing, man?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad to have you here. For people who don't know, DMI owns a comic book shop. So his insight is always really, to me, it's really interesting. I like getting the kind of the inside scoop, so to speak. So, did you want to mention your shop or anything?
Yeah, it's First Print Comics in Rochester, New York.
Awesome. So, if you're on the East Coast, definitely look him up. He knows his stuff. And also, we have Bob Dolebot. He is here to talk to us, and he's also got a YouTube channel. I'll be sharing that. How you
How you
doing, Bob?
folks doing? I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, dude.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad to have you here. And what are you playing again? Arkham?
Arkham City.
Nice. That's awesome. So we'll just let you talk the whole time because that's pretty entertaining to watch.
Alrighty.
Oh, look at him go. All right. So, some of the best and the worst in DC. I guess I'll start off. One thing that I'm pretty happy about, and for me is one of the best things, is that they're bringing back Super Sons. So, Super Sons Adventures is actually out now, right, DMI?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a great first issue.
Yeah. You know, I liked the ongoing, and I was really bummed when they canceled it. So even though it's a 12 issue, which is probably actually wise from a sales standpoint, I'm pretty hyped about it. So for me, that's one of the best things right now in DC is them bringing back Super Sons. So, Nerdette, what is something you like DC's doing?
Um, oh my goodness, okay. I'm not even gonna go. Okay, I'm sorry. I think right now I'm really enjoying the Red Hood and the Outlaws, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as other than just strictly comic books, I'm super looking forward to Shazam because I think they're doing a really good job keeping it like the almost like big movie type atmosphere. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Red Hood and the Outlaws is honestly one of the best titles from DC right now. I
Oh,
was going to talk
absolutely.
about that. And Ryan Wynn, the inker on that, is, you know, I'm a big fan of his. You might have seen on Twitter and on my channel. He interacts with me a little bit. Signed some books for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So, got to give a shout out for Ryan Wynn. He's a great artist. Works for DC Valiant and has his own a little comic line. Does digital called Novelty Comics. But yeah, Red Hood and the Outlaws honestly is one of the, in my opinion, probably in the top three titles from DC right now.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's great. So that was a good one. I'm glad you brought that up. So DMI, what are you liking from DC right now?
I really like the Flash run. I think that's one of my favorite ones, and it that has really good sales for me. So it's a double plus for me. I like Josh Williamson, his writing. I like the art to be a little bit better in some issues, but I get that it's twice a month. But Josh Williamson is one of my favorite writers. He wrote Nailbiter, which is one of my all-time favorite series. So that's my favorite at DC right now.
Wow. So it's selling really well for you too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps because I absolutely love that book, but the last issues just came out, so they're gonna change the Green Lantern stuff.
Is that the one Dan Jurgens has taken over, or is Grant Morrison, or?
Yeah, so Hale Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, that ended with issue 50 this week, was the last book. That's Robert Venditti, and he's one of my favorite writers too there
Oh
at
yeah.
DC. And I love his Hawkman. That's 3 issues in. Those are great. All that's great. But yeah, Grant Morrison's going to be taking over the Green Lantern, the main Green Lantern title, and that's going to be starting. That's going to be starring Hale Jordan. And I think the Green Lanterns book that Dan Jurgens is writing,
Yeah.
I think it's ending. I think it's ending with issue 57. I believe, this is just my speculation, that that's going to become another Green Lantern book, like a Green Lantern Corps or whatever you want to, whatever they want to do.
Cool. Yeah, I was glad you could straighten that out for me because I'm a big fan of Dan Jurgens. What do you think? What do you think Grant Morrison's going to do?
He said that he's going to. I think it's going to be more of a grounded thing. Like he's going to be more of a space cop, and I think it's going to be more of kind of like a space detective. I think, but he's going to be coming back to Earth.
Okay. See, I thought you meant grounded, like Superman grounded. That story. He hasn't. He's going to walk.
He's just going to walk around all day.
Yeah, he's going to walk across the space sector.
And Liam Sharp is going to be the artist on that book, so I'm really excited for that because Liam Sharp is an awesome guy.
Wow, doing all the interior stuff.
Yeah, it looks like.
That's cool. And you're talking about Venditti. He does Damage also, right?
Yeah, he's on Damage. Yeah.
Boy, okay, we'll have to come back to New Age of Heroes. That's a whole topic in and of itself. So Bob, what are you liking from DC right now?
Well, I gotta agree with Nerdette on the Shazam movie. Like, I saw the trailer for it and was like, "Oh my god, I gotta see this movie!"
Right?
It's gonna be so awesome. I'm happy that Super Sons is back. I gotta pick that up. Other than that, I mean, I'm really not too sure. I'm kind of testing the waters because with the way things have been going with DC and Marvel lately, I'm just kind of... forgive me for being a bit trepidatious about what money I do get spending them on comics that I may end up hating.
Makes sense. Yeah, Nerdette straight out the gate stole two of the ones I was going to say. Red Hood and Shazam. I see how it is. No, that's awesome. I think it's pretty cool that we're all hyped for the same stuff. I think that's a good indicator of the direction DC is taking. And bringing up Super Sons and Shazam both, that's another thing I've been concerned about. Like, I think I'm going to start making a lot of movies about the decline in comic book sales, but one way that companies can address that is by getting younger readers involved in things like Super Sons and the Shazam movie. I feel are a good way to do that. So,
absolutely.
It's a topic very near and dear to my heart. So, since we did one good thing, I guess we should do one bad thing. Okay, I'm gonna pick something a little unexpected. One thing that I was really unhappy with, it was actually last year, I believe, and DMI probably know better than me, but the Fourth World Omnibus that DC put out, that was last year, right? Yeah, the Jack Kirby Omnibus. And talk about a very important book, and lo and behold, it had not one print error, but numerous print errors. And a lot of people, myself included, didn't buy it because of that. And it really, to me, showed a lack of just skill or care from the editorial people. These are straight up reprints. It shouldn't be a print error. And it wasn't like a small error either. There was misplaced pages. There was a duplicate page. People are paying a lot of money for this book. So I've actually, I made movies about it. I've warned people not to buy that. Whenever it comes up, I say do not buy it. But for me, that was definitely one of the worst things from DC in a long time. And especially when you look back, it was a ways ago, but one of the anniversary editions of Crisis on Infinite Earths, it had a misprint. And oh boy, heads rolled at DC. People got fired. All the books were recalled. people, well, you didn't have to actually. If you held on to it, that was smart because it's worth a lot. But a lot of, you had the option to return your book. DC lost a mint paying people for the book to buy it back, and it was just a big deal. And it showed how much, just like 20 years ago, how much DC took that sort of thing seriously. And now they didn't even really acknowledge the fourth world misprints. They'll happily sell you that omnibus. So it's a bit of a rant for me, but for me, that was one of the worst things from DC. So let's see, Nerdette, you're up again.
Okay, so one of the things that drives me crazy about DC as a whole is the way that the DC movies kind of shape non-comic book reading public perception of the comics. I think it does the comics an injustice, and I know they take from the movies what's actually popular, but a lot of like a really old reference, like Adam West in his Batman series made it real like campy, and so people thought that that's how Adam West was. I mean, not Adam West, I'm sorry, Batman was. And then even up until like Tim Burton made a movie, a lot of people, unless they read comic books, had no other perception of how Batman was. They've done a good job, like with the Arkham series or like the Injustice games, but as far as the movies, I don't think they've given Batman, Superman, they've given Wonder Woman a really like phenomenal light, but the other two, they've kind of made them completely different people than in the comics.
As far as Batman and Superman?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like the, how violent Batman was in Batman vs. Superman. Just that whole scene where he's like, he just has no problem killing anybody. And even like, what was it? Man of Steel, where he kills Zod. And I understand you can argue for days that that's the only choice he had. But then you think of like All-Star Superman, where he's like, I forget what exactly he says, but about, there's always another way. You can always find a way to fix it. If he was so strong that he could break his neck in one swift move, then why couldn't he just move his eyes over a little bit? Or, I don't know. I just don't like the way they're shaped to people that don't read comics. That was my rant.
Yeah.
I can totally agree with that. But I think the thing with DC, which is different from Marvel, is you have a lot of different interpretations of the characters throughout the years.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like, it's weird because Adam West Batman, which I'm not a fan of at all. It's really campy. And throughout the whole thing, there's been campy parts of Batman in the comics and Superman. There's been things with Superman and all these characters that have been around for like 70 plus years. I think Marvel really defines their characters a little bit better.
Right. So I completely agree.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, isn't there this whole conflict between the Marvel movies and the Marvel comics not matching up?
I have no idea.
Like, okay, let's take Captain America. Yeah, they made a lot of changes when they made, Captain America First Avenger, but it felt like a Captain America origin story. Like, it held on to that feeling. Same thing with Iron Man. They modernized it, but they maintained the feeling of it being an Iron Man story.
Yeah. Well, they have done a good job with their movies.
Yeah, I think their storylines changed for sure, but I think a lot of times they get the characters right. I mean, I don't think Star-Lord is completely different from what the comics are.
Right.
But I think like a Superman and Batman, like in like Dawn for Justice, aren't exactly what I think about when I think about Superman and Batman.
And that's exactly what I mean. They're just not the Superman and Batman. Even I know there's a bunch of different variations and a bunch of different stories, but the core remains the same. It's still, well, there's a couple I guess that are pretty brutal, but the basic morals of the characters stay similar, and they don't at all in the movies.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of problems with BVS for sure. They tried to on the surface they tried to take Dark Knight Returns and Death of Superman and just kind of smush them together into a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily going to work. Like, they should have done one or the other, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And, you know, when I was watching it, there were definitely moments where I had like this sick feeling in my stomach. Like, a lot of people didn't notice Jimmy Olsen died. Like, that was Jimmy Olsen. If you watched the credits at the end, there was an actor credited as Jimmy Olsen. Yeah, they just shoot him.
What?
Like he's nothing. The photographer, when Lois is interviewing everyone and the terrorist takes him aside and shoots him, that was Jimmy freaking Olsen. That was Superman's pal, you know? So it's just like, okay, right out the gate, it's just like crapping on us as fans, essentially. And then, yeah, there were lots of moments. Like, some things were helped a little bit by the extended edition. Like, Superman actually stuck around the Capitol and helped kind of transport people around and try and help and stuff, you know? Instead of the theatrical cut where he just flies off.
Lights off, yeah.
Yeah. So there were definitely things that I wouldn't have done. I would have done differently, but I don't know.
And may I say that the fact that they combined Dark Knight Returns with the Death of Superman, we got robbed of the speech where Bruce Wayne basically tells Batman that he didn't have to go easy on him. And, you know, he could have had a stronger binding agent. That whole speech, and about how he's the one man that beat him. Like, we got robbed of that.
Sure, yeah. That was the other thing, too. It was sold as Batman versus Superman. I thought that was going to be like an hour of them fighting, but it was like 10 minutes. It was like not even as good as the animated, you know, Dark Knight Returns movie when they fight. I don't know. It was a letdown. I kind of lied to myself for the longest time. I was like, it was good, but no. How about Justice League? What do you guys think about that?
Unpopular opinion, I actually kind of like it. I think there's a lot of things that they screwed up on, but I give them credit for at least trying. I think the Schneider cut would have been way better than, you know, what we got. But what do you expect? But what do you expect? Joss Whedon showed up and was like, "Well, I got to change everything." Like, no, you could have just edited the movie together, and we could have gotten what Schneider wanted, and you could have, you know, done your Batgirl movie.
But that goes against everything I just said. Zack Snyder did not horrible, but he did a crap job of showing exactly who these people were as characters. You know, he made them murderous. He made them blood hungry. I don't know. I don't agree with that at all.
Well, cool. Yes, but like the Joss Whedon cut was just, it was one of those, because it was half made by Schneider and half made by Whedon, it just didn't mesh well. So it's either...
No, I agree there.
And especially how they tried to recolor a lot of it. You know, you could tell Snyder shot it and it was all smoky and stuff, and then they made it like orange and purple smoke. Like, yeah, the kids like colors. Let's put colors. Make it colorful. We'll make $1 billion.
Nope.
Not quite.
I still have 24 minutes left to watch in that movie.
Oh my gosh.
You haven't watched him fight Steppenwolf?
I was watching it because I had like free HBO or something. And so I watched it a couple weeks ago, but I was like getting late and I was like, I'm not going to stay up for this whole thing. So
Did you see the part where the Justice League like turned their backs and Steppenwolf took one of the mother boxes, just like yoink?
Yeah, I saw that part.
Which always struck me as stupid. Like, why didn't they get the mother box first, then go after Superman?
Or maybe just don't set it down on a parked car and walk off. Like,
what I really didn't understand was, why are heroes trying to revive the dead? I would have made that my plot for my villain.
Because he's more human than Batman, apparently.
I would never. Why would you have hero? I don't know. I just was like, I mean, it was an interesting conversation between Wonder Woman and Batman, actually, but I don't think heroes would agree to be like, yeah, we're gonna get this guy and he's going to fight this battle for us. I thought that would be like the villain would be like, I know there's Superman on this planet, and he could be my general, and we could rule. So I'm going to revive him. That's what I would have switched up. I don't know.
That probably would have worked better. I mean, probably the best part of the movie is when Superman's all disoriented and they have to fight him. In my opinion,
Heroes always
Yeah.
fight heroes, man. It's like, I have had
I like
enough of that.
Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, I do too, right? But I feel like, I guess because in the comic books they fight each other so much, the heroes fight heroes. It's like, where are the villains?
That's
Yeah.
another thing that drove me crazy about that is with Superman, Zack Snyder or Joss Whedon, I don't care who you pick, they made his whole world about Lois Lane. Like, he's a lot more than just Lois Lane, and they made like everything he was interested all came down to that one fundamental person.
Well,
Swap
it kind of
waifu,
makes
though.
sense. I mean, think about it. In Injustice, when the Joker pretty much
Yeah.
caused the death of Lois Lane and everything, that drove him to go rogue. I mean, that's been a theme a few times where he's either gone rogue or just abandoned humanity without Lois Lane.
It's interesting, though, in Kingdom Come, he goes completely the opposite way, right? Even though it's the same thing, Lois has been killed,
Mm-hmm.
and he just like doubles down on his convictions. Man, I love Kingdom Come. That's another video I'm going to do, is like why Kingdom Come is my favorite.
I still haven't read that.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
it's-
missing out.
It's so good.
I've
It's
been
like-
meaning to since the last live stream, and I haven't. I should.
Oh, it's all good. There's so much stuff to read. I'm way behind. But yeah, in that one, not to give too much away, but the Joker comes to Metropolis and straight up kills like everyone at the Daily Planet, including Lois Lane. And Superman doesn't turn on his convictions. In fact, he wants the Joker to go to trial and everything. And it's it's actually a big part of the story. It's really interesting. So
When
Definitely check it
Lois leaves Superman in the Bendis run, he's gonna go crazy though, right? You know it's gonna happen, right?
Why'd you
You know
have
the
to
break.
bring up Bendis? Oh my god.
Oh,
You know
but
they're
we
gonna
are
break up.
talking about the best and the worst. That can definitely be one of the worst.
So you don't like the Bendis stuff?
I don't like Bendis. Like, he's an ideologue that pushes his ideology at every turn and point. He's like, I remember reading a Bounding into Comics article where they're talking about they're going to have, like you said, the divorce and everything. And I'm just like, oh God, why? We finally got them back together with Rebirth. We got Jonathan Kent. We have just, oh my God, why do you hate comic books so much, you assholes?
Yeah, they look at what was selling well. It was this wholesome stuff. Super Sons is like a fan favorite. People,
Mm-hmm.
I think, I am personally, but I think people in general are hungry for that stuff. We've had decades now of this edgelord stuff. Seeing Superman and Lois and their son John, right? Jonathan, John,
Yes.
John Kent. seeing stuff like that's good. I like that stuff. So that's a
Yeah.
big qualm I have with Bendis too, is he wants to take that all away from us, and it's just like, no, we like it.
I think Bendis would be good on a Green Arrow. I think that's more of his type of character in the kind of the ground level, because it seems
Yeah.
like he did very well with like a Daredevil or someone like that. I don't think Superman is the right fit for him. The book was really weird this week. The Superman, it was uneven, I think, and like the end of it was like the last 3 or 4 pages. I was like, what is going on? I didn't understand. And then like Wally West, or it was Barry Allen. Like Barry Allen was colored with like red hair, or was it Wally West? I don't know. I was so confused.
Yeah, I saw that was a big thing on Twitter. That was another thing I was kind of throwing shade on DC editorial for.
Well, the thing I've heard is that a lot of this is possibly Dan Didio. I think that's right. Where he's pretty much talking about, or where basically they're saying that because Dan liked the New 52 so much, he's doing everything he can to cause Rebirth to fail so they can go back to the way things were in the New 52.
I don't know. I should have had Matt Invictus on. You mentioned Dan Didio. He'll go off on him, but yeah, a lot of people say he hates Wally West. I don't know why. What do you think about that? Makes me think of Heroes in Crisis. Is he one of the ones on the chopping block? I don't think so. Is he? Yeah, Kyle Rayner.
It's gonna be Kyle.
You think so?
Yeah.
I hope it's Booster Gold. I mean, if it has to be anybody, I don't. He's such a lame character.
Why do we have to kill characters all the time?
If it has to be anyone, that's who I would pick.
Yeah, no, but I know what you mean. I don't care. Go ahead, kill them. You could just bring them back in another time or whatever. It doesn't matter,
Sure.
right? None of it matters. But
Right.
Crisis always kills a Flash, right? Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah. Yeah. That's going back to the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Mhm.
Old Barry Allen. Now they actually kept him dead for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
See, if they do something like that, then it's meaningful. I don't know. They have a lot of Flashes. They might as well have just retired Barry in Crisis, I think.
And kept Wally the Flash.
Yeah, I mean, why not? And then they killed Bart Allen, too, in Countdown to Final Crisis.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, why'd you have to go and kill Impulse like that? Impulse was actually a fun character. Like, all the characters that actually get people to read comics, they're like, oh, you're reading comics because of this guy? We got to get rid of him.
He's back now.
Well, at least there's that.
He's back now. He returned in the end of the Flash War there in issue 50.
That's good. Come on, let me skip.
Oh, okay. I've heard good things about Flash War, actually.
Yeah, I love that story. It's really good, really done well, and they do kind of touch on how Barry and Wally are two different characters. It actually leads into this whole, what was it called? The Crisis, Heroes in Crisis. I forgot.
Yeah.
So, like, as a fan, like, I know as a store owner, I know this book is going to sell. As a fan, this looks super boring to me and unappealing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what to think about it, honestly, other than they aren't going to kill Harley Quinn.
Are you reading Tom King's Batman?
No.
So you weren't you didn't know about, I mean, obviously you didn't read the Batman 50 and stuff like that. I think he's very good in certain areas, and then it's very, very boring in other issues. So, like, I don't know how to take this Heroes in Crisis book. It seems like it's just, I don't know.
All I'm reading is Mr. Miracle, as far as Tom King goes.
So, like, that book started off, I thought, really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Mr. Miracle. And now I'm kind of like, what was it, issue 10 that came out? Or 9? Something like that? I was kind of like, I'm ready for it to be over.
It's almost done.
Yeah.
And but that right there, you should be wanting more of it. What the hell, DC?
I don't know. I'm not all the way caught up on it. I only have the first, I think, 8 issues. I don't know. You're right. It started off really strong. I still like it. I mean, I guess I'm not all the way caught up. Does it really fall off a cliff? Because issue 5 really fall off. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really fall off. It's just kind of like, I think they took a long break in between issues or whatever, and it was late. And I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of ready for it to be done. We're 10 issues in, and I know you got 2 more to go or whatever it is. But I don't know. It just felt like kind of the last issue kind of wasted my time. That's all.
Imagine waiting for the end of Doomsday Clock.
I like Doomsday Clock. I don't know. Maybe
Issue 5 and 6, yeah, really brought me back into it. I kind of wish, honestly, issue 5 could have been issue number 3. We had an entire issue about New Rorschach, and I think it was issue 4.
Oh,
and it was so slow and so boring. Like, I almost quit reading Doomsday Clock, and when issue 6 was going to come out, I read issue 5, and I was like, holy cow, a lot actually happened. All the characters and things we've been waiting on since issue 2 are finally being addressed. Like, you know, they shot freaking Lex Luthor in issue 2, and like you don't hear about him, I think, until issue 5. So yeah, like issue 3 and 4 were a snooze fest, but yeah, issue 5 and 6 are great, especially issue 6 getting the marionette and the mime going. I think they're probably the most interesting new characters in DC.
Yeah, that's a good. They're good new characters. They're good. It was a good background story for them.
Yeah, that's basically what issue 6 is, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it's hardcore. There's parts of it that were hard to read, but it is really sweet too in some ways. Made me identify with them as characters.
Yeah, I think maybe this is one of those books that does read better in a trade, you know, or one at one sitting or whatever. I don't know. Because there is so much of a time in between issues, and now that you're getting it once every 2 months or whatever, and you know, there's a lot to take in when you read the book, and there's new characters that you're not really familiar with. So I think it might be one of those ones where it's like if you sat down and read it all in one sitting, it'd be a better read.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was I said that when I reviewed issue 5. That it would probably feel a lot better as a trade, because every time an issue comes out, I have to reread the last issues. I mean, it is a little like Watchmen, where a lot happens, so kind of forget. Like Saturn Girl being the one, whatever, you know, that was a big deal. I don't know. There's a lot going on. So, boy, we haven't heard from Nerdette for a bit. You've gotten like several people have said hello. Let's see. You had a bunch of people saying hi, Nerdette. You're probably not in the chat, huh?
No, I can't do two things at once.
Oh, it's all good. Let me see. Who was it? It was like Marvel United or someone. Oh, Marvel Fans United said hi. Mr. Pirate Leo said hi.
I have no idea who those two people are.
Maverick Mix. Some of your subscribers, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know. But hi. I'm still here. I'm just quiet.
That's cool. So have you been able to keep up with those at all? With Doomsday Clock or Mr. Miracle?
Not Mr. Miracle. I've kept up with Doomsday Clock pretty much.
Yeah? Well, what are you thinking?
I love the Mime and Marionette character. I think they're great.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I do enjoy it, but it's bi-monthly, or it's every 2 months, right?
It is now, yeah.
It's just absolutely like waiting for another one is just so slow to me. I think it should have been dealt with differently. I don't know. That's just me personally.
Yeah, I mean, they should have had more of it done before they started.
Yeah.
I really think DC's, you know, The Watchmen still sells every single day. You go on Amazon and buy a new copy. I'm pretty sure DC knows that this book, they're going to make their money down the line. They aren't really worried about the floppies, you know.
Right.
I mean, it's nice selling a couple 100,000 on each issue, but it's the 20 and 30 years down the line selling trade backs of this that they're really banking on. So I think they're willing to let Gary Frank take his time and draw it. And, you know, I'd probably do the same.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways, I think the artists are way too rushed, and it affects the quality of the art a lot of the time.
Well, that's one of the things that makes the book too, at least for me. I love art in general, so that, you know, if a book has good art, I almost can let some of the writing slide. I mean, I know not everyone's that way, but it's just women like looking at pretty things. That's how it is.
Oh, men do too. Yeah, you saw my Catwoman review. So it's a visual medium. You know, the art is really important.
Absolutely.
I think I'm
So
the opposite. I think I need a good story. Like a good story could keep me in a book even if the art is garbage. But really, like a bad story with great art, I'm just like, yeah, it's got pretty pictures. It does, but
Well, I
I
don't
don't
mean a
know.
bad story. I just mean I
Right.
can let some of it go a little bit as long as Catwoman doesn't look like a man.
Right. I gotcha.
oh boy.
Believe me, I'm
Oh.
trying my best not to make jokes. I'm just like, keep my mouth shut. Keep my mouth shut.
Some of the women I've seen lately have just been god awful.
Oh yeah, that's a whole thing in comics right now. Make some videos on that, you'll get a lot of views. Like She-Ra, that whole She-Ra thing.
uh,
We don't want to
Zebra.
touch that.
Oh, I
don't
want
blame
to, but I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm trying
Yeah,
not
we
to
may
get
as
in
well.
trouble.
That whole story, that whole thing peaked anyway. Man, there was a week there though. If you made a video about She-Ra, you'd probably get 20,000 views.
I'm not gonna lie, I was half tempted to. I was half tempted.
Yeah, I don't know. There's all these trends you can just watch, and you're like, do I want? Yeah, it's all right. like right now, if I was just, I know what to do. Right now, I should make a video about Batwoman. Maybe I should have made it probably last night. That's the thing that's blowing up right now. Everyone's talking about the Ruby Rose Batwoman thing.
She's such a good casting choice, though.
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
And the way she's being treated, like the actress, is just like, really? She's got the right type of build. She dye her hair red would look like Cassandra Cain.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she's a lesbian. What more can you ask for?
I know, but I just seen she got rid of all of her comments on something like disabled just because of all this. But didn't the same exact thing happen just about race instead of acting with the girl from that's doing the Titans like a month ago?
Oh yeah. The Starfire actress.
Yeah, she's beautiful. She's a lesbian. I don't know. I've only seen her in one movie, but I've heard she can't act very well. So I don't know about that, but how much more could you possibly want for a perfect person? And she's got like a comic book character's name. Her name is Ruby Rose. Come on now.
Plus, too, isn't it? It's going to be a TV show. Like people are freaking out. She's been in movies and stuff. Just be happy with what we got. Like, gosh.
Yeah,
And it's going to be like a
who
CW.
cares?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's going to be like a CW level show. So it's not going to be great, but you can watch it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean those shows still have a couple $1 million an episode budget probably, but it's not like a Marvel movie or something. Which
Exactly.
And she's been in TV shows and movies, so she's kind of a bigger name actress than most of these shows would have to begin with. So I don't know. The whole thing seems a little weird to me. Like, let's just be happy Catwoman's on TV, or Batwoman. I mean,
Well,
people are just complaining to hear themselves talk. Seriously, at this point.
Well, I think what a lot of it was is they were mad because there wasn't backlash. Everyone kind of was like, I can live with that. That sounds like a good casting. So the left went nuts. Like, but she's not gay enough. She's a lesbian. How is it?
that's the thing. It's like they even tried. Like they really tried to please everyone, and it still wasn't enough.
And it's like a prime example. Nerdette touched on the Teen Titans, but it's like, no one had a problem with her race. They could have easily painted her orange and, not made her hair look like Cheetos and given her a damn good costume to show her off in, and everyone would have been happy. Starfire's an alien. Doesn't matter what race the actress is. Just make her look like freaking Starfire.
Yeah, don't make her look like a disco hoochie.
Thank you.
Yeah, there are some cosplays of African American women who've done Starfire, and they look amazing. It's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just the costume. They didn't even spend a cosplayer's budget on it, and it's absurd. It's really not fair to the actress, to be honest. Just
Right.
the way she dresses normally is a lot better. Just to have her wear street clothes, like it was atrocious.
Yeah,
Move
I
on.
think they said her costume was gonna change, and that was just like I don't know, like they were at a nightclub or something. But why didn't they show a little bit of that?
I
Like,
mean,
so
she
there
showed
wasn't
up
all this
on our planet, like wearing
naked.
that dress. Like, well, yeah, be all right.
It's like I think it was actually mentioned either the last time I was with you or something that it's because the guys making, the Titans show, they're not fans. It's obvious by the fact that so many mistakes they've made. Like there's a most hated right there. Just in one thing, everyone agrees, hated Titans
Absolutely.
and the whole fuck
Yeah, I'm not
Batman.
happy.
Like,
And
why
Dove.
Right?
like, why is Robin saying fuck Batman? Even when Tim Drake and Batman were going head to head like none other, he still was like, he's still my mentor. I'm mad at him. I don't really want to talk to him right now, but he wasn't like fuck Batman.
Right. And I think the only thing that's going to redeem that show, and I'm just partial to Jason Todd, but I think if they introduce a Red Hood character just because it's such a fan favorite.
Well, and they could have actually gotten away with it being all dark if they had gone with Jason Todd. They just don't know anything
Absolutely.
about anything.
Oh my goodness.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Instead of fuck Batman, he could have just said, "This show's on HBO. We're
That-
edgy." I don't know.
Dude.
At least that's kind of why I went with the best and the worst of DC. It's like there's a lot of really good stuff for right now, and then there's a lot that's just terrible. It's weird. I guess there's a lot in between too.
Oh, sorry.
Sure.
No, just another thing that drove me crazy about that interview was Dove is supposed to be a real pacifist character. And the first thing you see her do is wipe out somebody's cap. Like, good way to represent your characters, DC.
Yeah, they could have had Hawk do that, not Dove.
Absolutely. It would have made
they
sense then.
Yeah. They clearly don't know what they're doing.
Well,
No.
that's what happens once again, wherein you have people who are not fans of the source material making, your various shows and movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They probably were. I mean, you got to do, even if you're not a fan, do some background. Take some time to actually read more than one story arc.
Yeah. That's
But-
a big problem.
That's asking too much of people.
That should be their job, though.
Oh, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. But I mean, come on, like take the picture of Brie Larson reading the Captain Marvel comic. All right. We all know that was just a picture that they did to make the fans feel like, "Oh, she'd actually, doing the research. This isn't staged at all." And it's like, we all know this is staged. We're not that
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's publicity. I mean, that's like a normal thing I would do too if I were a movie producer. Like Henry Cavill, they had him pose with Superman or Action Comics #1.
But
I don't.
But Henry Cavill actually did a believable Superman, even if it was super dark. He still did a good job. He still looked
Yeah.
like Superman. He still, you could tell he was trying to bring the big blue Boy Scout to life proper. And
Yeah,
you could tell he gave a shit.
yeah. He was cast. He was a good casting. They just imagine if Richard Donner had written for him or something along those lines, or even Dan Jurgens or someone who really understood Superman. How perfect that could have been.
Did y'all hear that he's not going to be in Man of Steel 2?
No.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's so many rumors around the DC, whatever they're calling it now, that I just take everything with a grain of salt. I don't know if it's true or not.
Until there's concrete evidence, I never believe it. We also were promised that a million different movies in the past 2 years, and none of them came to fruition. So,
well, it's because they all.
A lot is going to hinge just on how well Aquaman and Shazam are going to do. But go ahead.
Oh, that's basically what I was going to say. It all hinged on the success of Batman v Superman and Justice League. If those movies did well financially, then they were going to ramp up production and get all these movies out quickly. But the problem is once again, you have, like, other than Wonder Woman, they haven't had any real box office success. They haven't had any home runs. And I was worried about Wonder Woman, and then when I saw it, I was like, oh, thank God it wasn't preachy.
Oh, it was good.
It was really good.
To me, yeah, that's the best, in my opinion, DC. I'm calling it the DCEU. What are they calling it now? Do you know, DMI? I know they changed it. Worlds of DC, is that it?
That's what I've been seeing still, so... Yeah, all I seen was like Man of Steel 2 sequel got axed, and he exited the EU there. So
oh man,
I don't know. I don't
think.
Too. Yeah, I saw it in a couple different things, but I don't know if that's completely true. I don't know. You're right. Like, you don't know. But is there actually going to be a Justice League 2, or are we just waiting on if Aquaman does well and Shazam does well? Like, because that's kind of ridiculous.
Well, I think that's where it's at. Yeah. Those and Wonder Woman 84 are all in production or done. So yeah, I think it depends on how well those do. You know, they did everything backwards. If they had done, Aquaman, that shouldn't be what you do after Justice League. It's what you do before Justice League. They even had the blueprint from Marvel. They didn't start with Avengers. They did Iron Man first, and then they did Captain America, and then they did Thor.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing about it too is Aquaman looks really good. Like
it
really
does.
good. Like they might have, it looks like they spent at least 200, maybe 250 on it, just making it, if everything is as good as the trailer is. And it's like, why didn't you put that polish on Justice League?
Yeah.
You put all your eggs in the Aquaman basket. Okay. I mean, it looks really good, but I don't know. It's just everything. It's putting the cart before the horse, to use an old expression.
Yes, yes, it is. Well, and like I said, it's because Justice League and BVS didn't do as good as they wanted. But it's like, what do you expect? You kind of they could have gotten away with doing the soft bring in with Wonder Woman and Batman in BVS if they had just done the movie a bit more justice, and no, everyone would have been fine. Then they could have released the Aquaman movie, the Cyborg movie, and then done Justice League, leading up to a Flash movie.
Yeah.
And then Flashpoint.
Yep.
Oh, that's another one with the rumor mill is Flashpoint.
That would be great if we got a live action Flashpoint, but
well, half the internet thinks we are. You see all those posts, right?
You can't. I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, they have always got what's his face who played the comedian. Is the dad
Jeffrey Dean Morgan? I do believe is his name.
Yeah, he's Batman, and they always have like all these characters already. There's like posters and stuff for live action Flashpoint movie. A lot of
Can we change the Flash actor then?
No, I like Ezra Miller.
Oh man,
he's such a little wimp, though. Don't you just want?
Yeah, but he's. I don't know. He's funny. He plays the role well. He plays the. I don't know. I just think he's a good actor for the part. That's my point.
He's the best Peter Parker I've seen.
Better than Andrew Garfield or whatever his name was.
So between like the Flash TV show and the Flash and the Justice League movie, I don't think we have an actual Barry Allen in in live action.
Not a fan of the Grant. Was it Grant Gustin?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's Barry Allen. I think he's
No.
a mix of Wally West and Barry Allen. They're like, here's his job, but that's about it. And then the movie version was not Barry Allen. Barry's a hero. He's a smart dude. So
Yeah.
like I don't understand I don't understand the casting or anything. The TV show is really boring to me lately. So
I haven't kept up with it. I know in the first
I
couple
haven't either.
seasons it was like Villain of the Week for a while. They'd
Yeah.
have Rod and King Shark and stuff. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But I haven't heard much about it lately.
Well, like when it comes to the way they portrayed him in both, one, how hard is it to get? And there's plenty of them out there. A 6'2", well-built blonde dude with, to play the Flash. There's plenty of actors out there that fit that bill that can look exactly like he looked in the comics, and give him the costume from the comics that everyone likes. Both costumes really don't look like the Flash's costume. Like,
Oh
and-
yeah, the TV one is such a budget costume.
yes, and then while the movie one makes sense, it still just looks shitty.
Well, he's such a clown too. Well, they kind of went with it looks like the Injustice armor, supposedly, right? His outfit.
Yeah, it's exactly kind of what it reminds me of.
That's what they always say. But you're
I
talking
agree
about
with that.
casting. Remember the guy from the 90s, John Wesley Shipp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he played the Flash. That guy's built. I'm looking at him on Google. The guy's 63. He's still he's twice as big as either of the current Flash actors. So it's like, you just got to cast these guys. The Flash is no weakling. You see him in the comics, and he's ripped. He wears that skin tight outfit, and you see the muscles rippling. So
Right.
I think
don't
they
know.
thought they needed to go with like a slimmer guy because he's a runner. But yeah, the Flash Barry Allen is not. He's like almost the same build you would think of as like Hal Jordan. When he's standing next to Superman, Batman, Hal Jordan, he's not really that much smaller than those guys.
Mm.
no, he's tall too.
Uh-huh.
And that's the other thing. I mean, I guess he's a younger one in Justice League, right? Because that's true. They did say he was going to go to college and get into police science. I don't know how to say that. Always messed the word up.
Forensic science, yeah.
Forensic science. Thank you. But yeah, at least they said that. That actually kind of brought me around to it. I was like, oh, okay. But overall, I don't know. I guess we don't usually see him portrayed so young.
Yeah,
But-
and it's kind of weird because the Cyborg character was kind of like your origin story, new guy to the team. Like I haven't been doing this for a while, and I'm trying to figure out my powers. So you had Flash and Cyborg were both kind of like, I've never been in a fight before or whatever,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
And,
Cyborg wasn't into it at all.
Yeah.
and may I say again that, oh my god, I think the guy who played Ray Fisher is his name, the guy who played Cyborg. To me, it's like seeing him without all the Cyborg stuff, he looks weird to me. And in a way, he even looks weird as Cyborg because he looks exactly like Cyborg in the comics.
Yeah.
Like,
He was cast well.
yes, he was. And he did a good job.
Yeah, what sucks is they cut most of his scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually one of the best actors in it. That's another thing, too. The Cyborg movie is very much on the back burner.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. That may or may not happen. But
What?
they were so concerned with the running time of Justice League, they cut his scenes and Alfred's scenes big time. Jeremy Irons also got thrown under the bus again, just like BVS.
Well, And that's the thing. Like I've stated before, had the execs said, or someone stood up to the execs, I should say, and said, "Look, no, we don't care about your bonus. We need to get, this movie time and production to be able to be done right. Wait till Schneider can come back or something. Go ahead and do complete reshoots and whatnot." They could have made their money back and then some off of Justice League, and everyone would have been happy, but because they had to rush that movie out before the end of the year so those execs could get their bonuses, it ruined the movie.
Yeah. Well, they were overly concerned with running time too, which blew me away because there's a couple of movies that came out that year that were longer and made a lot of money. Jurassic, was it World then? Had a longer run time. It made over $1 billion. I had a whole list at one time, but there was a bunch of movies that came out at the same time and were a good bit longer, like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's like 25 minutes longer than Justice League, and it made a mint. So I don't know.
But it also had a good, it was a 2. It had a fan base for it already.
Like Justice League doesn't?
Well, I know, but not okay. No one's seen it in movie form yet, so they're still pretty.
If anything, that should make it more hype.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Like I went and
Well,
saw
when you put all those characters, that Superman, Batman, and Flash, and Wonder Woman, you'd think they've been around forever. People would want to see them on film together.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, but I'm just saying that there had been Batman versus Superman, and there was already a lot of talk about how bad that was. And I don't know. I just think that that's
true.
just my yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm actually looking for a prime example of what happens when you have these execs come in, act like they know what they're talking about, when in actuality they don't. But I can't seem to find it real quick. But I was going to cite there it is. Passed over it like 3 times. Prime example. The Daredevil. This is the director's cut, all right? This movie could have gotten a franchise, but what happened? The executives thought they knew better than the guys working on the movie, and they ended up telling basically the producers and everything to cut the movie short, cut out a lot of scenes. Like that movie, if you watch the director's cut of the Daredevil movie, it has the same feel as the Charlie Cox Daredevil series. Same feel, has a courtroom scene. It felt like a proper Daredevil story. But no, execs thought they knew better and cut the movie down. They didn't want to put out a long movie, and what happened? The same thing that happened with Justice League and BVS. And it's like, and even Suicide Squad. The longer runtime on that is a way better movie than what you saw in theaters. Notice a trend here.
Movie got so butchered by the studio. What we got was just it was a mess. Like they introduced the same characters twice in a row. Like Deadshot, and then another scene is like, here's Deadshot. Have you seen Deadshot? Here's some text on the screen. His name's Deadshot. It's like half the movie. And it's like the whole thing too is Amanda Waller is the villain, but she also orchestrated. Suicide Squad's got so many problems.
But I give them credit for at least casting Amanda Waller correctly. We didn't get the one thing that bothered me about Amanda Waller in the CW series is they went with someone young and attractive. I'm sorry, that's not Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller,
attractive's pretty debatable.
I thought she was cute. That's my opinion. But my whole point is Amanda Waller is supposed to be a short, heavy-set black woman that takes no shit from no one. And that's what makes her such a good character. Like, she takes no one's shit. She always has a backup plan. Proper Amanda Waller wouldn't have died the way they had the CW Amanda Waller die. she would have had a backup plan for her backup plans for her backup plan.
Well, that was part of the problem with the movie too. The whole problem they were having was her screwing up repeatedly.
Yeah, I can see that. I didn't even think about it until you mentioned that. That's a valid point.
Yeah. It's another one of those I really wanted to like, and I do on some levels. Like, it doesn't hurt to watch Harley Quinn run around, but it's just it
Right.
could have been so much better. Honestly, it should have just been a Joker and Harley Quinn movie with Batman
That's
showing up.
kind of what it was, though.
No, not really at all. Like Jared Leto had what, like 6 minutes in it in the theatrical cut.
And also at the same time, they pretty much went with the wrong costume for Harley Quinn. I wanted to see her in her classic costume. Like, they gave you a brief
That
shot.
would have been amazing.
Yeah, and it's
You
like
think-
even Margot
I
Robbie
mean,
was.
do
Well,
you think they would do that though?
No.
No, because they want to show off Margot Robbie's hotness. I mean, she's an attractive woman. I'm not saying she isn't, and she did a good job as Harley Quinn. But I'm sorry, like even Margot Robbie didn't like that costume because of how she was cold because it was winter, and they were making her, you know what I mean, wear this.
Well, she's all covered in water half the time. It's all wet and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
it's
I didn't even know about that.
she didn't like it because she was having, she was cold all the time, and it's like they could have just given her classic costume, and they could have even given her the costume that they have in this, and she would have been warmer.
I didn't know about that. That's pretty crappy. At least give her the jacket she wears sometimes. That, like, I forget, with the same outfit, sometimes she wears a jacket.
That, like, baseball jacket.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I forget what it says on the back. But
Daddy Little Monster or something.
yeah, I think she even wears it a little bit in that.
Well, that's what the T-shirt said.
Okay, I knew it was one of them.
Yep.
Well, whatever. Something.
Give me one moment, folks. I'm going to step outside.
Sure.
Well,
We haven't
alright.
heard from DMI for a minute. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like Suicide Squad, that movie was to me it was entertaining to me, like because it
Yeah.
was just kind of stupid fun, I guess. But yeah, there's some huge plot problems in that movie. I think the actress that played Amanda Waller did a good job. But
Viola
and I think-
Davis, yeah.
yeah, I think she did a great job. But and obviously Margot Robbie was great in it. But yeah, there was definitely something missing.
The casting
and there's
wasn't the
definitely
problem.
there's some problems with the plot.
There's problems with the plot, and as I recall, when I think it was the second trailer came out, and it had a lot of music and everything, they basically recut the movie because of how well the trailer did. They actually had a trailer, like studio, someone that makes trailers, take over and edit the movie.
Oh, I didn't
So-
know that.
Yeah, so that's kind of why it feels like you're watching a bunch of trailers, one after the other.
Yep.
Yeah,
With-
yeah.
Yeah, they introduce each character
Well, that makes a
multiple
lot more
times.
sense now.
Yep.
Feels
It's like a
uneven.
lot of the individual scenes are good, but the pacing and the connective tissue between the scenes is not really there.
Yep.
And even the character development and stuff, like Diablo's like, you guys are a family. We're a family now. It's like, okay, guy, I know your family's burned up, but we just met. Like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Have
Yeah,
you and Killer Croc even ever talked? Like, how are you all a family? Because if you have, it wasn't on screen. So
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. I think, there was no connection between the characters other than the obvious characters with Deadshot and Harley Quinn. All the, like you said, like you don't have anything with Diablo and Killer Croc and Captain Boomerang, who it seemed like his character got massively cut. It seemed like.
And he was a
Seemed
good
like-
character.
Yeah, he was. He looks the part,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, casting was all right, was good, very good, and I think costumes was pretty decent. Like Katana looked great, but another
Yep.
one who barely got any scenes,
Yeah.
like barely. I would have loved to see her. I would like a Batman and the Outsiders movie, honestly.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But Katana barely had any scenes. And what she did have, it was usually Rick Flag explaining. It's like, hey, no,
Who
I can
she
speak for
was,
myself.
yep.
Yeah,
He had to talk for her.
yeah. When she gets on the plane, he's like, "This is Katana. Don't mess with her, or she'll kill you." And it's like, okay, it's a great introduction. You know, I could have said hello to.
I always just
Nah.
think when we talk about these movies, it's like the bigger the budget, the more hands in the pot, the more it could get screwed up. And it does seem like they have DC Comics. It's like Warner Brothers, you have this division of your DC Comics. You have people on your staff that know about these characters and care about these characters.
Right.
Talk to them, use them, I don't understand, and sometimes I see that with, Marvel, especially with some of their Marvel TV shows and stuff. But DC, it's like definitely their movies, and Flash shouldn't be boring. TV show, you have 70 plus years of stories you could pull from. You could just pick. Go talk to Jeff Johns. He'll get you some great ideas. And I get that you can't
keep going back to the Jeff Johns well.
Um,
Poor Jeff Johns. Like, DC has just been milking him like a cow for the past 20 years.
Yeah,
They wanted him to save the DC movies too, and he was already the chief creative officer and writing like 3 books. And it's just like, dude, you're gonna need to clone Jeff Johns. He can't do everything.
yeah, absolutely.
And he is writing some of the shows too, like even Titans, right? There was an episode.
Yeah,
he's
I
writing.
think he's helping on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But isn't he stepped away from the movies now, though?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which,
That's what
he stepped away from a lot of stuff. He stepped down from chief creative officer too.
I don't blame him.
No, I think he just wants to write.
Yeah, it's what he's good at.
Yeah.
He's probably, what would you say, DMI? He wouldn't be the most successful like modern comic book writer, but probably in the top few, right?
Yeah, he's pretty successful. For him to get, all those promotions and the job offers and stuff like that, he was doing something right. Green Lantern Rebirth sold, it really reunited the Green Lantern family and all that stuff. So like that sold really well, and it still sells really well. Trade paperbacks of that sell. Same thing with Flash Rebirth. So when he wrote those are very, very, very popular. And his Infinite Crisis wasn't too bad, and that's sold really, really good. So yeah, I know him and Bendis were like the 2 guys, in the early 2000s that were selling tons of books.
Blackest Night too, right?
Blackest Night, yeah, another huge hit. Yeah.
It's crazy too because I don't really like dark stuff, but I like Blackest Night, I guess, because it isn't dark the whole time. Like, it does have a good ending. But man, that trade back, I think it's 8 or 9 issues. It's like 1 through 8. And I got to issue 4, and I was like, this is so dark. It's so bleak. And all the other Lantern Corps finally show up to start fighting the Green Lanterns. Like, Jeff Johns can write for sure. He took it all the way to the edge and was like, this is so dark. Like, everyone's dead. Everyone's coming back as Black Lanterns. It's so horrible. And then, Hope showed up as the Blue Lanterns. And you're just like, yeah, this is awesome. And it kind of, it's a very basic story structure, like a 3-act thing, but it's good. I like it.
Yeah, and with all those characters and moving parts, and he was writing, the Green Lantern main book too at the time, and working with the other writers and stuff. It really came together well. Like if you're reading the years and years of Green Lantern that he was writing, which it came to the Blackest Night storyline, and you were really reading the Green Lantern Corps, and you ended up reading all that stuff. You're like, wow, he did put a good story together, and everyone else did a good job too.
That's great. I like the tie-ins too. I haven't read all of them, but I've read most of them.
Yeah,
those are all collected into volumes too. Rise of the Black Lantern Corps is one of them. I can't remember them all, but they're great. Like the Superman tie-in, the Wonder Woman tie-in. She has to kill freaking what's his name, Maxwell Lord. She breaks his neck again.
Yeah.
It's like, Wonder Woman, why are you always breaking his neck? You know, and I've got like there's like 3 or 4 different issues where she breaks Maxwell Lord's neck. That's like an ongoing thing. And he comes back as a Black Lantern and she twists his head all the way around. So it's on backwards. The Catwoman one's really good too. The Blackest Night Catwoman tie-in. Black Mask comes, or is it Black Mask or Black Skull, the Batman villain?
Black Mask, yeah.
Yeah, Black Mask. He comes back as a Black Lantern, and sorry, I'm really tired, but he comes back as a Black Lantern, and it's pretty awesome. I liked her story a lot. The Weird Western Tales one's great. The Titans one's great. I know James Robinson wrote a bunch of those.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good stuff. So I guess that'd be one of the best from DC too, is Blackest Night.
Oh, definitely.
And that's another. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I never picked up the Blackest Night until it's been a long time, but Injustice 1 made them costumes for them. And that's actually one thing that's great about DC is they use their storylines and they incorporate it into the games or to other forms of media to make people pick something like that up. I don't know. I just had to add that in there because that wasn't anything I was interested in just because of how, dark it really was. And then something like that just simply sparked my interest.
Yeah, Blackest Night is like severely dark. You at the beginning, like Aquaman's dead, Martian Manhunter's dead, Batman's dead. You're just like, whoa. And then underneath, I'm pretty sure it's in that one. Yeah, they've got all of the like deceased villains kind of entombed underneath the Hall of Justice, and they all come to life as Black Lanterns. And you're just like, oh, this is so horrible. And like Necron too, and oh man, it's good though. It's weird because like Crisis on Infinite Earths is kind of a bigger scale in a way, like they're literally universes being destroyed, but it was still kind of written in that Bronze Age style and coloring where even though it's so bleak up until I think Barry died, and then especially when Supergirl died, it was pretty sad, but it never really had that dark feel, whereas Blackest Night, it lives up to its name, and the coloring and everything too is just perfect the way they did it. It's all about color really in a lot of ways, the color spectrum, the emotions, and life and death. But when the different colored lanterns come and start competing and fighting the Black Lanterns, and there's a lot of cool things too I would have never thought of, like Black Lanterns are all dead, so Deadman's just going from Black Lantern to Black Lantern, taking him over and stuff, because he could do that. So there was all kinds of cool stuff.
Let me double check, but who is the colorist for Blackest Night?
That's probably like Alexander Sinclair, I bet, or maybe Sandra Hope. It was someone really good, I know that. Let me know, I'm curious.
I'm looking it up now.
It'd be the main series too, because the tie-ins all have different people.
Sinclair, I think.
Yeah, I figured. He's basically the best. I think him and Sandra Hope, I mean, those are the two I see a lot. Oh, and Tom Chu. I like his colors. There's a lot of good colorists. They're kind of unsung, some good ones, DMI?
Of course, Elizabeth Brett Weiser is one of my favorites.
Oh, yep.
And Vale Staples.
I know, buddy. I know. I'm moving. You don't like it.
What about Hi-Fi? Is that your favorite?
I can't remember what they do.
They're coloring. It's like a coloring company. All the like cheaper DC comics, their colors will be Hi-Fi, and I just groan. I'm like,
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where if the colors are, competent, you don't really pay attention. If the colors are really bad, you're like, who is this? If the colors are really good, you're like, who is this? But if the colors are just like regular every day, you're like, you're like, oh, whatever. You're reading the story, or you're looking at the story, you're looking at the art, you're looking at the inks. You're not, the colors are just like, oh yeah, it's pretty standard. You see this every day.
Yeah.
Well, Let's see. That's why. Wrong one.
Ivan Reese was the
Penciler.
artist, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
like
Ivan
his
Reese.
stuff. He's good.
Yeah, I wish he had stayed on Terrifics. Although Doc Shaner, he's good.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about the New Age of Heroes then?
Um, well, get the shovel because it's dead.
You think it's over? I really like Terrific still, and I like Damage still.
Oh, I love it. I love the whole thing. I hyped it up so much.
Yeah.
I've done reviews of every #1 issue. I've done so much to promote that thing, but Unexpected coming out at 25,000 for its #1. Challengers, same thing. Freaking Immortal Men getting canceled at issue 6. Every single artist is bailed. I don't know, man. Even Damage is below 20,000. I could see Terrifics holding on. Silencer's got a pretty good little fan base, even though JR's out. I mean, the line could hold on with a few titles, but I think DC's looking to shut it down.
Yeah, I think. New Challengers was a miniseries, so I'm not too. It
See,
was
I
already.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it was gonna. New Challengers was gonna be a miniseries no matter what, and that's like co-written by Snyder. So like that's. I think that book will be. Obviously it'll be fined, and they'll sell trades and whatever, and it might lead into another series.
Really?
The Unexpected was.
Who's gonna buy a trade of that though?
Oh, people will buy a trade of that.
Really?
Definitely. And miniseries sets.
Maybe I just don't like it because it's Andy Kubert, right? And they've just got him drawing like I guess I've only read issue 1 though. But the first issue is so boring. They're just standing around talking.
So I find it interesting. I actually really like the book.
Okay.
But I could see that. I think that it was like a new twist. It was definitely written in a miniseries written for kind of the trade. And I think it's kind of interesting that what they're going to do with that book, to be honest with you. I think there's going to be a new, like a Challengers of the Unknown kind of book coming out after this, but maybe I'm wrong. And Unexpected was the one that I think I read the first issue and I was like, I don't care. I think that was the one.
I kind of like. I've only read the first issue on that one. See, I kind of like that one a little better just because the characters were unique. I don't know. I know Firebrand's been done before, but Neon. Well, actually, a lot of these are. I guess Neon has been around before too. But what intrigued me is when he gets cut in half and he just has rainbow colored insides, and he just kind of zip back together. I don't know. Magic.
It felt like the story was just so I was like, what? Like it didn't feel like the beats of the comic didn't feel right to me,
Yeah. I guess I was more willing to give it a chance than I was with the Challengers because another guy I follow on YouTube, Ash on Comics, he's been reviewing all those and he's had some pretty positive things to say about issue 2 and 3 of Challengers. Like it picks up the pace, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. That first issue, I was just not feeling it, especially how they introduced a character and then killed him the next page or something.
And let's answer your question on the colorist. The colorist amongst the different books that was in Blackest Night was Rod Rice. Nye Ruffino. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And where's the Brian Miller? Yes, those 3.
Those are for the tie-in volumes?
That's for Rod Rice did Superman.
Yeah, those are the tie-ins.
All right, I'm still trying to find the straight Blackest Night.
All right. Yeah, those tie-ins are really great, though. A lot of these events, I actually like the tie-ins. Well, in that case, I like the whole thing, but a lot of times I like the tie-ins better in the case of Convergence. I like a lot of the tie-ins. I think they're fun. let's see. I'm looking at it now too. I'm curious. Oh, the Wikipedia doesn't just tell you right off, does it?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
It says the writer and the penciler. Why they got to do this to me? Weird.
And they got
So,
it broken up into 3 different graphic novels. That one was the first one was the Black Lantern Corps, was the one I read you,
yeah, Rise of the Black Lantern Corps.
and
Those are the collected tie-ins. Blackest Night itself is just the 0 through 8. I never did read issue 0. Apparently, that was a free comic book day book. That's awesome. I need to check that out. You got any laying around, DMI?
No, only my
No.
own copy.
Oh, I bet you do.
No,
I wish-
because that came out before I was even in business. So
Yeah, was that 2009?
yeah, something like that.
That's cool. How long has your store been up and running?
Since 20. Well, I've been in my location since and been doing new books since August of 2011. So the first new book we actually got was Justice League #1 for the New 52.
Wow. That's cool. Old New 52. So would that be a best or the worst of DC?
New 52 is like a mix, don't you think? Like, there's some really good stuff. Obviously, like, Batman and Green Lantern really didn't change too much.
That
Those
is an
books.
answer of someone who knows what they're talking about. A lot of times people are just like, oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. Oh, okay. What New 52 did you read? Well, I heard it was bad. Well, it was like 6 years, right? Like, it was a lot of time.
No, like, Hawk and Dove probably was bad, okay? Books like Static Shock that they didn't probably do very good with, and Voodoo, that was probably really bad. There's probably someone that likes those books, but the Justice League was fine, and the Green Lantern and Batman stuff was fine. If you're a fan of Snyder, you're gonna like that. Even the detective stories were okay at times. So there's a lot of decent stuff and good stuff. I think they got sucked into this weird thing. They saw what Marvel was doing with a lot of their characters, and they were like, "Oh, we gotta kill Batman off or something, and put this Robo Bunny looking suit, and put Superman in the jeans and a T-shirt." And they kind of went a weird way. They gave Green Lantern Hal a gauntlet and like a trench coat. It's kind of odd, right? They're changing all that stuff, and then with Rebirth, obviously bringing these characters back to kind of the basics, something what Marvel probably should do. But I don't know. There was a lot of good with New 52, and there's a lot of bad with it.
I have Superman #1 from New 52 because it was George Perez writing it and drawing it.
Yeah.
And then DC went and stepped all over George Perez, and he left the company as far as I know, but he definitely left Superman. And it's like, you guys, you got George Perez writing and drawing Superman, just leave him alone. Maybe accommodate him if he has any requests, but just do not bother him. Because I thought that was a good book, and obviously he could carry a title just on name alone. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It was a whole thing, right, with how they used Superman and the other stories. Might have even been Justice League. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. And I think there was a number of guys that they kind of messed with editorial. I think 52 Comics was too much for them to honestly to launch all at once. It's too much. Like, it's too much on your editorial staff. It's too much on everything. This is a big deal, big project. And they had problems. They had problems right off the bat with some characters and or with some writers. And it seemed like, I think Ron Mars got canned after like 2 issues of Voodoo.
Wow.
Rob Liefeld got moved from one book and then got like 3 different books and then quit. And I don't know, it was just kind of a big mess. But they had a lot of like rotating artists and stuff like that too. And I think they didn't get the right names. Like now, I think when they did Rebirth, they did have a lot of the right writers in place. It wasn't just, hey, these are our staff and we're just going to move them around to different projects, which Marvel does a lot of. Like Marvel will be like, oh well, Dan Slott's off Amazing Spider-Man. He's gonna write Iron Man and Fantastic Four, and you're like, really? So like I think DC, when it came to the New 52, they didn't have enough talent to pull from.
Yeah, that makes sense. They had a lot going on.
When let's just be honest, with the way these, both Marvel and DC is being run lately, they're worrying more about, once again, they're worrying about the wrong things. I mean, it's funny you mentioned on the whole them bringing up, 52 books at once. One, it's like we were kind of talking a little bit before the stream where we were talking about the price of comic books and everything. Like, even if you are the hardest of hardcore DC fan, you can't afford 52, books at $3 to $4 or $5 a pop. I mean, that literally is insane. Like, I'm not going to try to, butcher the math here and use a calculator to make sure I'm correct. Quick.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, because, we were talking about that before the stream. Comics are just, they're expensive. It's definitely not, it's definitely one of the worst things from DC. And, even if they weren't to lower the price, if they just included a free digital copy with every book, like they do with a few copy issues here and there, I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, sure. It spreads the word, right?
Yeah.
Well, you could be like, here, take this code,
Well, it's $208 without tax for 52 books. All right, and I'm
$4 each, or
$4 each.
Okay.
Which is, if I remember right, is the current price, and they're talking about raising that price again. So
it was $3.99 in the New 52 as well. So that's $200 a week or even a month. I don't know.
That's
their flood the shelves strategy is not viable.
Well, especially when who wants to read a comic where nothing happens? Like, you're sitting there, all right, I picked up the latest issue of Batman. Yeah, there's this big, massive story arc going on, but I'm expecting something to happen. You go through the whole thing, nothing happens. Like, yeah, Batman fights some guys, but nothing other than that happens. He gets no information. He doesn't have any interaction with the baddie. You don't find anything out. It's just, oh, well, I'm wasted my $4 on something that could have gone towards something that would have rewarded my, I guess you could say, time and money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. I think that's a big reason the overall sales are struggling. It's funny, too, because not so much DC, but Marvel will often brag about, oh, it's, record profits. We made record profits this year. Yeah, because you're charging a lot and you aren't paying your workers very much, and you sold just a fraction of what you sold in the 80s and 90s. Like, Jim Lee selling 7 million copies of X-Men. What was that in a month?
Right.
Yeah, 7 million copies. They can't, probably the biggest book recently, well, maybe Amazing Spider-Man 800, they overshipped that a lot, but Action Comics 1000, that broke records with 500,000 issues. It's a big deal, but not compared to not that long ago, really. So I don't know. It's crazy. And Action Comics 1000 shipped, it was 450, and then they corrected it up to 500,000, but it had the main cover, and then it had 9 variant covers. Most shops bought that. And then I did a video where I found at least 27 covers, including exclusives. So, I mean, that's a lot of it there, too.
Yeah,
I don't know. It probably sold pretty well, though. How'd it do for you, DMI?
Oh, I could have bought like 100 more.
Really?
Yeah, at like an $8 book. it's hard to judge. You're like, oh man, this is a big chunk of change, you know? Like, what am I gonna do? It's a big week. Every week is a big week, it seems.
Yeah.
And the invoices are a lot of money for a small shop. So we went a little conservative on it, but did very, very well. I'm very happy with it. But yeah, I could have ordered another 100 copies and sold the
Wow.
sets and been completely fine with it because people were asking for it. I was almost sold out that Wednesday, which is crazy. And I think by Saturday, I was like, I have 1 copy left. Like,
That's amazing.
yeah, it was crazy. It was insane. So it sold very, very well. But
Oh,
you're
man.
right. Like, it's one of those things where when you see it with Marvel and DC, and I had an experience with Fantastic Four this week, you're going to see these numbers and you're going to like, holy cow, it sold a lot of books. But yeah, there is a lot of variant support. This isn't like back in the day when there was one cover and it sold, 75,000 copies or whatever. And you're like, oh, that's a good selling book or whatever. Now it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, we did 300,000, but there were 17 different variants. And this comic book shop, Midtown, got the 1 in 1,000 cover variant. So like right there, they probably got 2,000 copies or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of shops did exclusives for that. I was surprised. I found tons of them.
Yeah.
And which is the other thing that drives me nuts is why are they, you know what I mean, doing all these variants? Because, all right, so like I like J. Scott Campbell as an artist. I always have. But like his like 7 cover or variant where it's all different parts of the same picture. I'm sorry, but that's not worth it. That really is not worth it. Especially at $4 a pop.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not familiar with that, but it sounds like a bad deal for sure. I don't know. I like his art too, but don't you kind of think all his like basically he only draws women, but no, that's not true. He drew Spider-Man and stuff, but he's mainly, I don't know. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but don't you think a lot of his characters kind of all look like the same woman with like different hair or whatever? It's always this long-legged, Michael Turner style almost woman, and it's like interchangeable. No,
a lot of them look the same.
Yeah, I mean,
I can
like,
see it.
Yeah, like I look at quite a few of his covers, and it's like, okay, Mary Jane kind of looks like Red Sonja, kind of looks like it looks like Danger Girl, looks like on and on, unless he's drawing like Alice in Wonderland or someone. Those fairy tale covers all looked pretty different, but I don't know. Maybe it's just his style, it's definitely a style thing, which I will give him credit for that. I like artists when I can look at it and be like, okay, that's Steve Rude or that's Kenneth Rocafort or whatever. You don't have to see the signature, you just know. And he's like that. But yeah, I don't know. He could use a little more variation in his characters, I think. Just personal opinion.
No, that is fine. I mean, you presented a very good point that I hadn't thought about and I hadn't noticed until you really mentioned it. But then again, I like Gen 13, and that was like him, Jim Lee, like those two were double teaming that comic and doing a very good job with it.
Those were back in the good old days.
Uh-huh.
Before Jim got lazy. And he'll draw like half of an issue of Immortal Men and just be like, all right, I'm done. That was hard. Where's my check?
Well, at the same time, I mean, part of the reason why I have so much respect for Jim Lee is because Wizard used to roast him practically every issue. And he would still do interviews with him and things like that. So I couldn't really be, you know what I mean, too mad at him.
Yeah, he's a good artist, no doubt. He's just slowed down considerably. Which, it might just be part of getting older too. He has been around a while.
Couldn't tell you when he started.
I don't know. DMI might know.
Jim, early
Yeah.
80s, I think. I saw,
Wow.
I had West Coast Avengers. No, it was Avengers Solo, which was Avengers Spotlight. So it was like a Hawkeye book, right? And they had a picture. He did like a 4-page story of like Mockingbird. And like Mockingbird's one of those characters that, people really don't care for anymore. But she was really cool in this story. So
She was a
I
character
shared that a couple weeks ago.
I was just saying
Yeah.
she was a character that was ruined, and it makes me mad because she was actually a good character. Then they threw a whole bunch of politics into her character, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
And 87. Yes, he entered the industry in 87 at Marvel, and it was Alpha Flight, Punisher, War Journal that he was doing before going to the Uncanny X-Men in 91.
Wow. And then he just blew up and was like one of the most famous artists ever after that.
I'll admit I'm a Jim Lee fan too. I call him Grandmaster Lee.
He's good. I like his Hawkman, cover. Or was that Justice League? My bad. He was doing those Justice League covers with like Hawkwoman.
Yeah,
Those are
that was
good.
really nice.
Yeah, like he's good. Maybe just have him do covers and stuff. Still, I mean, yeah, there's no doubt he's a master artist. Someone that famous, you got to roast him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the new Justice League title, or are you guys keeping up with that?
I read issue 1, but I'm behind.
Is it the thing where it's like it's a $4 book, and now they're shipping twice a month? Is that one of those things where you're like, yeah, I don't really.
Well, they got behind really fast because it's bi-weekly. So it was like I got issue 1, and then I can't get back to the comic book shop, and then they're on issue 5, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll get the trade then.
Yeah, that's pretty much my thought. Is I, at this point, just would prefer to get trades anyway, just because of the fact that.
It depends. Because, like, from a collector's standpoint, you want to get the floppies.
Yeah. I'm thinking, especially lately with the way the Big Four has been going, I try to save my floppies for, quite frankly, indies. Support the little guys. The big companies will be there. And I highly doubt anything they put out right now is going to be especially with all the variant covers and everything, I highly doubt it's really going to matter. Because, take Spawn, for instance. A lot of people bought Spawn issue 1. And basically that is it's pretty much toilet paper. Because
Really?
of how... Well, yeah, because it's the most printed comic in history.
Yeah, it's funny how that kind of thing happens. Like, friggin' Star Wars #1 from, Marvel Comics from 1977. I figured it would be worth a mint. And you look it up, you can get it one for, $40 to $100, a lot more for high quality, really high mint one, but it's totally doable on eBay. And I was like, really? But yeah, they printed a ton of them, and you can get like issue 3 and up for relatively cheap, which to me, Star Wars is super popular. It's from the 70s, which was a while ago. I would have thought it would be worth a lot more, but yeah, you're right. If they print a lot, it can hurt the value. So that's interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm. My most expensive comic that I know for a fact is, worth money is my the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon, the Incredible Hulk. I can't remember I think it's like 260 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it in my room actually, somewhere. But the thing is, it's not graded, so if it was fully graded, that's what it would be worth. And that's where getting a comic graded to be able to get the full value of it damn near costs, a good fraction of the comic.
Yeah.
Especially sending it off, because I was going to do it. I was going to get it graded and everything, and I was looking at about 200. And mind you, 900 is if it's in perfect, which my copy should be. I kept it in the sleeve and everything. I read it once, that's it, and left it in. But basically, it can't have any imperfections, no creases, none of that for it to be worth that. And when you're spending a good chunk of money to have a comic graded, it's like it almost doesn't make it worth it.
Yeah. I haven't actually had anything graded. That's certainly a big thing to do. Maybe someday. I mean, it would have to be something really special. I wouldn't mind getting some of my stuff signed, though. Something like Action Comics would be really cool, too, because think how many people you could have sign that, right? You could take it to a convention and get, like, Tom King and Dan Jurgens and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez and on, You could get, like, 20-plus people to sign that thing. Now, that would be cool. That'd be something to get graded, right?
Well, yeah.
That's something I'd like to try to do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Brad Meltzer, like, there's all these guys and gals that worked on it. So Nerdette, when he was asking about Justice League, have you read that at all? Been keeping up with it?
I haven't kept up with it just because, honestly, like, just the last month I'm seriously broke, but I haven't kept up with a lot just for that reason. And when I did go to my comic book store last Wednesday, it's in the last 2 weeks it had closed. So anything that I'm buying right now is digital.
Ooh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and there's not
terrible.
one. Probably, I would say, because I live in a teeny town, probably an hour and 15 minutes I'm looking at. So, and it was like a comics and card shop, and it was really nice, just run by, like just the mom and pop shop, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And that just goes back to a lot of the decisions that the big two have been making, and it's like, you guys are killing your own industry. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't have comic shops to sell your comics, you're not
Exactly.
It's not like you're in stores like Walmart. It's not like you're in gas stations and things like that. You are mainly in comic shops. So it's either people order directly from Diamond or they pretty much are SOL.
Well, you can buy digitally.
Well, yes, but I'm talking for those who want the actual physical copy.
Well, yeah, I do too, but I don't have a choice right now.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm making.
It's that or pay shipping, which is like doubling your cost. Because there's
Right.
like Midtown Comics and stuff, and their prices are actually pretty good, but you spend $3 on an issue and then it's $3 to ship it, and you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah, shipping is killer. It's killer
Yeah.
for me. I always people want to, get stuff from me and stuff, and I'm like, okay, listen, like, I'm not trying to get over on you on shipping, but these are just the costs. Like, this is it. This is what United States Postal Service is giving me. I'm not Amazon, so I can't eat all those costs, So yeah, that's a problem, because I ship everywhere, and I ship to people all over the world, but I always tell them, like, listen, if you're in Italy, it's going to cost you a lot of money
Oh my
to get
God.
there. But shipping is definitely one of those problems when it comes to that. But yeah, I don't mind if comics were in other places. It's not like I see it as like a huge competition to me. Like when I was a kid, I would buy comics from the grocery store, and I think a lot of people are introduced that way, right? So, I think with DC, I like that they're putting those books in Walmart. I don't like the price point. I think it needs to be cut in half. I think $2
Really?
or two. Yeah, I think $2 or $2.50.
100 pages though.
Right, you don't need 100 pages, right? So why do you need 100 pages? Like, keep it at 50 pages and do 250, right? I
I
think
spend
I
five
think
bucks on 100 pages.
Yeah,
right,
I
but would
mean,
you spend it
compared
for your
to,
kid? Like, I
well,
don't
hell
know.
yeah, I'd
Yeah,
be
you
more
think?
Yeah, I
likely to spend it
definitely
on my
would
kid.
have.
Okay, okay.
But think about it. I mean, a regular floppy that's half ads, so it's like 18 pages probably. That's $4. Getting 100
It,
pages. I don't know if these things have ads or not,
it's supposed to be
but
20. So the comics are like 20 pages.
so it's like
Um,
80 pages for $5. It's pretty much at least twice the value of normal.
yeah, no, oh yeah, yeah. And, and most of it's reprints and stuff. It's fine,
Yeah.
whatever. But I just thought like you're kind of at that price where it's like mom and dad would go, $2, whatever, sure. But when you start getting up to like $5, you're like, man, come on.
Could,
That's just what I thought. That's just my kind of thinking. I don't know, maybe because I'm in Rochester and be a little cheaper here. I don't know.
no, it makes
but
sense. It'd
but
be cool if they had the Giants and, a $2 book as
Minis.
well,
Yep.
yeah,
or
because
some
I think
Alterna.
Alterna Comics has
Yep.
that kind of right where they have it cheap, but they're running into the problem where the distributor doesn't want to like carry their books because they're not making as much money off the Alterna stuff than they are like a Marvel or DC or whatever. So I get that.
Yeah.
I haven't
There's
even seen those books. I've looked for them and I haven't.
Yeah, my shop doesn't carry Alterna either.
And
Even if you were like, hey, I want these on my pull bag, or maybe not. I don't know.
My guy hates me, so I don't know.
Oh, that's right. We had that conversation.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go back there, to be honest.
Oh no.
That's
Well, he's the only store in the shop, the only store in the state. He doesn't have to be nice to people.
That's terrible, though. That's awful.
In
Yeah.
the state? Oh my gosh.
The state's over 500 miles across. There might be another one on the other side of the state, but it's the only one within 60,
Driving
60
distance.
over 60 miles each way. So I was going well out of my way to go there and spend 40, 50 bucks every time, and he wasn't too kind about it. So his loss.
Wow.
It's all good. I mean, it's not really all good at all, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I'll just probably start buying floppies online. I don't know. I do buy a lot of digital, I admit, but that's for reviewing for the most part. Like my reviews, or
Yeah.
a lot of those I use digital comics. But it's kind of a lot better for that. You get a really good quality image to use for the reviews. Like I kind of like that, but gosh, I spent a little too much too. It's easy to get carried away because the issues still cost multiple dollars a piece. Like I bought all of Countdown, and I should have bought the trade, but I was buying them one at a time, and I was stupid, added up fast. Oh well. That's my mistake. There's a lot of free comics on there too. Like Comixology's got a couple hundred comics for free.
Yeah, they have a lot.
Yeah, I get all their free ones. A lot of them are the free comic book day ones, which are nice because I usually miss that.
They just got a new one. I think it was, I haven't read it yet. It's like Unrolled and Untold or something. I don't know if
I don't
anyone's seen it. No. Well, okay.
Oh, who's the publisher?
I don't know. I just downloaded it today. I haven't even touched it.
DMI? Heard of it?
no,
Doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, that's all good.
like I said, I've been the indies I have are from guys I actually know, like Wanpool, Sporkman. Got the first issue of Rags. That's what I'm actually going to get the floppy of when it releases later on this month.
Yeah.
That's just because Brian's my boy. I got to take care of him. Really cool guy.
He's very nice on Twitter.
Yeah, like he's
The whole Rex team.
Oh yeah, like my first live stream, I had both him and Nihilus.
That's cool.
Didn't have the artist, but I had those two, and that was still awesome. Because I literally had like 25 subs at the time, and I somehow managed to get both of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, cool people are like that, you know. A lot of people won't go on certain channels if they don't have a million, you know, not really, literally a million, but, you know, picky and choosy.
mhm.
So that's cool. They're so down to earth. I actually really respect that.
Well, now you're in the meeting of the minds chat, so if you want to get these guys on, just you know, to talk about indies, you can.
No, you're giving away our secret chat where we plan to take over the world.
I talk about the meeting of the minds chat on my stream all the time.
No, it's a secret. No, it's fine. I wasn't even in it until a minute ago when you added me. That's pretty cool though. It's got all the indie, well, not all of them, but all these guys, a lot of these indie guys, huh?
Mhm.
Comic creators.
A lot of them.
That's good. Yeah, I saw Timothy Lynn is in here.
Yeah.
He's big time. He's a real, you know, Comics Pro has gotten a negative connotation, but I mean in a good way. He's a Comics Pro.
Yeah.
Like he is a professional comic book artist, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. Have you seen like some of his Street Fighter art and stuff he does?
Oh yeah. I've seen a lot of his art, and
Yeah.
it's one of those like the fact that his comics are like his comics are all bunny related. I'm just like, all right, or Trump related. It's just funny. Like that's one of the ones I'm planning on getting when I have the extra money. I'm even since the comic book shop that we have here also deals with magic cards and whatnot. I'm thinking about trading in some of my rares to give me some comics. Give me both.
Oh man, giving me flashbacks to when I sold my dual lands.
Ooh, don't. I had so many of the shock lands, and I'm still not
dual
too happy.
Lands though.
Yeah.
Shock lands are one thing, but dual lands, those are worth a lot. I don't think they even have made those since Revised or Unlimited.
I couldn't tell you. All I know is
I haven't played Magic in forever. We'll get the quartering on and ask him.
Right.
But I got $120 for him, so.
Like, my whole thing is, Magic has just completely gone downhill, and if Wizards of the Coast doesn't clean up their act, they're going to kill the secondary market for Magic as well.
Well, it's a pay-to-win game. It was like pay-to-win before video games discovered pay-to-win. Like, Magic is the OG pay-to-win.
Oh, yeah.
You put down $1,000, you're going to have a tournament deck like that could carry you through no problem until you run into someone who paid $5,000 for their deck. You know, that's all it is. That and RGN, you know, random number generator. It's just what you draw, and there is a certain level of skill to it, but you know, there's you can win a game in like 2 turns if you have the right cards. So, like that Black Lotus sold for $84,000. Yeah, because you can win in like a couple turns. So,
all right,
it's pay to win.
You'll like this. I created. You remember how the Super Friends build, which was Gideon, Jace, and one other one. I can't remember the other character, but I created what I called the Avengers, which was all Planeswalkers pretty much with I can't remember the name of the card, but what it was is you'd cast the card, you would flip shuffle and then flip over the top card of your deck. If it was a land card, it went into play and the card went back to your hand. But if it was a spell card, creature spell, you'd play the card without paying its mana cost. And if I got the right starting hand, I could turn 3, and I have in a tournament turned 3 into Nico Bolas. The guy just like you win.
Yeah, you know, part of the reason I stopped playing Magic was when they introduced Planeswalkers, and I was just like, "Are you for freaking serious? You can't target them with spells, right?"
Depends. Like you can attack either your.
You could use like Wrath of God and clear the field, but I mean, you can't lightning bolt them or anything, right?
Yeah, you can.
Really, Planeswalkers?
Yeah.
What was it? There was some qualm I had with them. I guess they're just really OP. That's another thing with Magic is you have to buy the new cards every time. Like when they introduced Planeswalkers, it just put all my like 9th and 8th edition, you know, freaking creatures in the trash. So it's a trade-off because the really, really old cards are overpowered and the really, really new cards are overpowered. And then everything has to be type 2, right?
I don't
If you
remember. I
wanna
haven't
play.
played in a tournament since 2014.
Yeah. I don't know. We're talking about Magic too much. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay. I know
TMI.
nothing about Magic.
Do you run Magic tournaments in your shop? Do you get all the big
No.
nerds?
No.
You should. Man,
don't
I
know
was throwing
anything
down
about
$4 or
it.
$5 on a booster. You get some fat
Yeah.
money from that.
Yeah, I
Those-
don't know anything about it. I guess I'd have to do some research and stuff like that. I know
Well,
there's a place nearby that actually is probably one of the bigger gaming card stuff. I don't know much about it.
yeah.
I'm getting into anime now, and I'm gonna probably do some anime stuff and manga and in the store. But
Well, that's cool.
yeah, I don't know anything about. I was just a comic fan.
There were a few years where I played a lot of Magic, but it's one of those things, if you don't keep up with it, you really fall behind.
Yeah, it seems really confusing and.
It is. They change they add rules and things all the time, and there's type 2, which is like the current cards, and then there's type 1, which is the old cards, and it's like you can't cross them over, at least you're not supposed to. So pretty soon all my cards are like out of type 2, which is the tournament play, unless you do type 1. So
See, because my cards are so old, like I said, 2014 when I last bought cards.
that's not old for Magic. Like I quit playing many years before that.
Well, for me, I'm saying like I was actually trying to play in tournaments and whatnot, but like I would have to spend pretty much what I spent when I was playing Magic in tournaments, which was like $2-3 grand on Magic cards, if not more.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
if you-
now I understand how you won a tournament. It's no joke, I just buy boosters and put together some pretty good decks, beat up on my friends, and you go in and it's like, oh, you have restricted cards?
yeah.
You have all these things that are like, holy cow. Restricted cards you can only have one of in your deck because they're so OP.
Well, like, where are they? Like, I have so many rares.
He's got the
Like-
power 10.
Like, let's see. You want to talk about OP cards? Let's see.
I want to see. I'm really curious.
Let's see. Of course, gotta have Jace.
See, I don't even know Planeswalkers. I know they're basically overpowered, though.
All right. His +1 ability. The way like Planeswalkers work is you have the plus ability more than often either the negative abilities, because what it is they all take that number right there
Okay.
in the corner. The plus ability adds to it. That's also their life. So let's say you and I were playing. If you attacked my Planeswalker, Chase, with a creature that does 4 damage, Chase would be dead. But like its +1 is draw a card, target player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard.
And
0.
that's wow.
That gains his life, all right? So that gives him an extra life. 0, target player puts the top 10 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard.
Oh, it's a mill deck.
Yeah. -7. So you have to build up to at least 8 before using this. You can do it at 7, but it'd kill your Jace. Any number of target players each draw 20 cards.
Mm-hmm. And then you have to discard most of them.
I got Gideon.
Man, you're making me want to play Magic.
I
still have some.
play Magic.
I have some old cards, but not really anything great. I sold off most of them. They still use enchantments or anything? Like,
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Like
I had an enchantment deck that was pretty cool. I think it was called Opal Essence, and it turned all your enchantments into creatures.
Ugh.
So all the enchantments would buff each other.
Oh
That
yeah.
was
Let me dig out my, because I actually have deck boxes in my backpack with decks in it.
Wow.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I've been wanting to play for a while, but I only have like 2 friends that play Magic, and one of them I have his Magic cards. It's actually in my dresser over there.
Did you get into Hearthstone?
A little, just not as much. But
It's basically Magic.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, you probably can't read that because of how small it is. Sliver
It's
deck.
Oh my god.
Yes, I love slivers.
I'm having flashbacks to Onslaught.
Slivers are
EMI thinks I'm talking about Marvel.
But
Yeah, sliver decks, tribe decks. So that's cool. They still do that. I used to have a sliver deck.
see, I'm trying.
It used to be all about tribe decks. You have priest deck, elf deck, whatever. They all help each other.
Well, what happened is around 2013, 2012, 2013, they started going into dual color cards, and the meta became dual color decks, which I was already doing anyway, even though everyone told me that was stupid.
Really? No, you should always do that. You're too weak if you're monocolor.
I've seen some monocolor decks. Like I built a buddy of mine a tournament level. The other friend I should say.
Due to protection from X color spells and
it's hexproof, man. If you have the right,
I would always use this enchantment called Story Circle, where I could pick a particular color, and then if I paid 2 white mana, I could prevent damage from that color. So unless you could disenchant it, your monocolor would be shut down.
Oh yeah, but enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each card in controller's hand. At the beginning of the draw step of enchanted creature's controller, that player draws an additional card.
What?
Yes, and this deck is and of course if
what lets you do that? Is that a creature?
It's an enchantment.
How much is it?
Straight up enchantment. 1 blue, 1 white, 3 colorless.
Okay.
But what makes that so worth it? Reliquary Tower. You have no maximum hand side.
Really? Well, and plus being able to draw an extra card every turn, that's actually really, really good. And the only drawback is it's 5 mana, so...
Yeah, that's why it makes it to where...
That'd be okay, though.
And, gotta have Omniscience in here, which is an enchantment. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's you may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana cost.
Oh, they've got old there's older cards like that too. Exploration was 1 green and 1 colorless. That's an old school card that lets you play as many land in a turn as you want.
Nice.
But anyway, these other 2 are probably dying.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll talk about Magic later. Okay, one more, and then back to DC.
All right, it's a 6 mana cost. 2 colorless, 2 white, 2 blue. Flying. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, you may draw a card. And it's a 6/4.
Wow. I used to have a white-blue flying deck back in the day. That was my gimmick. I would make decks that only had flying creatures, so more or less unblockable. I would always do that. I'd make I made a white-green deck and a white-blue deck that were only flying creatures, every single creature. Like even the support ones, I'd have like Birds of Paradise, and then I'd ranker them so that they were +2/+0 and stuff and could attack. But even I made a black-white deck that was all fear and shadow creatures, so they were all unblockable. Like I don't know, there was always a gimmick.
And may I say, since I'm the one that kind of started the Magic bit, sorry everyone, that's my fault.
We apologize. Oh man. Do you ever talk about other games on your channel, Nerdette? I know you do a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, a lot of that. A lot of basically horror gaming.
Yeah. You think you might branch out or just stick with that?
I guess it just depends on what new come out. When I started my channel, it was all comic books and I did a lot of Injustice and a lot of Arkham gaming, and the market was so saturated with that, and especially me being female, it was hard to get into. It took me 2 months to get my first 100 subs. When I switched over to horror gaming, it took me a week to get my second 100. So it's really hard for my channel to do that. I don't know why. It just
Hey, if it works, don't change, right?
yeah, I guess it would be nice to be able to do. Every once in a while, I did a Shazam video last week, and the week before that, I think I did
I saw that.
Killing Joke, and those are the videos I look forward to more, I guess I could say. But just because I do something on a daily basis doesn't mean I don't enjoy it. It's just something I enjoy more.
Yeah, I know how that is. Really you pretty much have to do daily content to get ahead in YouTube.
Yeah, well, at least every other day. I try daily, but it doesn't always happen.
Oh, you do good. Sometimes you do 2 a day, I thought.
Sometimes I'd go 2 days without doing it, but that's very rare. It's like once every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, it's a grind for sure because, quality takes time, but then you have the constant demand for
Yep,
more content, and it's
exactly.
like, I don't know, it's weird.
It's hard though. It really is.
Yeah, especially if you don't feel motivated.
Yeah, or a lot of times, like, just simply being a girl, I have to put on makeup. I'm not going to put it on, and my eyes water so bad. So it'll take me an hour just to deal with that part alone. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's kind of unfair. For sure, really. I appreciate you coming on. Since you brought it up, it's actually kind of hard to find female guests to have on that, can talk about comics and stuff. There's definitely a few like you and Donna Troy and who else? There's a few I've had on, but
Right.
it's tricky.
It's male saturated, but there's still females out there that do read and do enjoy it. It just if I got hooked when I was 8, so it's been something I've enjoyed ever since.
Yeah. But it's cool to have you on because you can contribute that, gender perspective, not to get
exactly
into it that much, but it's cool. Have some variety. And you actually know what you're talking about. Like, I wouldn't just have you on just because you're a girl.
Well, I would hope not.
No, that'd be dumb. That's cool though. Yeah, maybe branch out a little, but really your channel's killing it. Don't break, what is it? Don't step on the golden goose or whatever.
Exactly.
So what kind of anime? You expanding into manga or anime or both, DMI?
Probably just manga right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Because my buddy, Grand Comics, got me into manga. And I read. I'm caught up on all One Punch Man. He got me into One Piece, Berserk, all that stuff. So I really want to kind of probably do some stuff like that. Probably put that in the store.
Did you read Evangelion yet?
Nope. No.
Oh.
He talks about that, I think. But yeah, that's not one of the ones I actually read.
You got to read Ava.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things you just have to read. It's very twisted, though. I think. Well, what do you think, Nerdad? Is the anime or the manga worse? Have you read Neon Genesis?
Me?
Or watched it? Any either of you? I just assumed Nerdad had. But yeah, did you?
I am not actually a Evangelion fan, which is funny because I'm a huge MechWarrior fan, but I'm just like, Evangelion.
Well, that's the thing. It looks like it's a MechWarrior show or book, but it's really like a psychological mind screw, Oh,
the first couple,
yeah.
Like,
it's not like Gundam.
No. But for me, I'm sorry, my favorite anime is Berserk, actually.
Oh, okay. That's a classic, right? I haven't kept up with it, but I had an anime phase in the early 2000s, and there was the late 90s stuff I really liked, like Cowboy Bebop and Trigun, and kind of the end of when they were really drawing everything. but those are really popular too. So it's probably just what was available. I thought they were good though.
I haven't watched like last anime I watched was One Punch Man.
Yeah,
I love One Punch Man.
I haven't kept up with any of the newer stuff. It's pretty good though.
Oh yeah, One Punch Man is hilarious.
It's great. Yeah.
I've just seen memes and stuff. I don't know what he's about. He just seems OP, so it's kind of boring. Like, what's the deal if he can just one punch anyone?
Well,
Yeah, but it's like he's searching for this challenge. It's like I'm extremely bored in my life, right? So I'm strong and I'm just looking for this challenge, and everyone's always like questioning him and saying, "How'd you get so powerful? You must have did this. You must have cheat. You must do this." And he's like, "I just, I trained hard, and and that's it." And he's just kind of like a humble dude, but like, he's just looking for that challenge. He's searching for something, and that's why it makes it interesting. And there is a lot of cool fights. It's not just him killing everyone right away. So it's interesting, and he gets like an apprentice and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, and he also has a really good straight man. His pretty much his protege, Genos.
Yeah,
and he's just like, Genos is like, how? And by the end of the first season, he's accepted it. He's like, whatever, I'm not going to figure this out, but I'm definitely going to learn what I can from the guy. The biggest thing about One Punch Man is he's one of those characters that has a lot of heart. Like, he's not a hero for the recognition, he's not a hero for the fame, the money, none of that. He's just a hero for fun. Like, that's literally his whole thing. He's a hero for fun, and it's hilarious because, without giving too many spoilers, he finally gets his grand battle, someone that could hold up to him, and then you have it end his, like, right before it cuts to black, his fight after his grand battle, he punches somebody who seemed all super big and powerful, and in one hit takes him down. He's like, damn it!
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something to look into.
You will not be disappointed. Like, the only reason why I even bothered to watch it was because of the fact that I'd heard such good things about it from everyone, and finally was like, all right, I got to watch this.
Well, that's a pretty good endorsement.
Like, the Attack on Titan, they waited too long, so I only saw like the first season, and after that I was like, bored now.
Yeah.
That, and I swear to God, Attack on Titan is the Japanese version of Game of Thrones.
I could see that.
Like,
Speaking of that kind of thing, more or less, what did you guys think of the Batman Ninja animated movie? Did you check that out?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Yes, I agree. I'm like, that's
No one saw it?
No.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was weird. It kind of flew under the radar. Sometimes DC, they just put these animated movies out. It's like I did the trailer review yesterday for Constantine City of Demons. It's another animated movie that's coming out, and like no one's talking about it. It's kind of weird. But Batman Ninja was not that good.
Wasn't it? I was actually really looking for. I was gonna watch it tonight, but I had the live stream. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, well, watch it and let me know what you think, because there's definitely elements that are good, but it's also kind of like,
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll like it, you know. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll get around to watching it eventually.
I mean, it's not bad, but it's not like in the top 10 DC animated movies for me. Like, it's no Flashpoint.
Yeah,
Well,
Flashpoint's pretty hard to beat, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
It's no Assault on Arkham.
Another hard one to beat.
Yeah.
That
You're
is
just
like,
naming really good ones.
well, they are my favorites. What about Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay? Did you see that?
No, didn't even know that was out.
What the heck, guys?
I just listen. I just got the Death of Superman one and sitting here, and I haven't watched it yet. And,
Do it.
And the last one I bought before that was the Gotham by Gaslight, and I haven't watched it yet either. It's
I
literally
watched that
been
one.
sitting here for like a year. I don't know. I haven't watched it.
I didn't even know that was out. That's one I've been wanting to see.
That's
Yeah, it
been
came
out
out
for a while.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I just haven't got around to watching it.
Well,
Anybody else? Did anybody watch that one other than me?
Mm-mm. Like,
It's
I'm
like-
behind on my DC animated movies.
It's like I'm DC Fans United or something. I'm the only one.
Right?
Train. Oh my god, it snuck up on me. You guys talk.
Well, I know. I think the last DC animated movie I saw was, I think it was DC versus Teen Titans.
Oh, like Justice League versus
Justice
Teen
League
Titans,
versus
yeah.
Teen Titans, yeah.
Yes, thank you. I mean, that was good. They did a good
Yeah.
job. Like, I swear I'm the only person that likes Damian Wayne.
That might be the
They-
truth.
I used to hate him, but he kind of, they developed him in those 3 movies, the Batman and Robin, or Batman versus Robin, and Son of Batman, and Batman Bad Blood.
Bad Blood,
By
yeah.
the- Yeah, by the end of that one, I came around to Damian Wayne somewhat.
I liked him from the get-go. I was
Oh.
like, he was exactly what I would expect from the, him being raised by the League of Assassins, and on top of that, being raised to, inherit Ra's al Ghul's, basically organization. That's exactly how I would expect him to be.
Well,
Like-
yeah.
So he never bothered me acting like
He's
that.
such a brat, though. Don't you just want to punch him
Yes.
like when Nightwing pulls his cape over Damian's head and punches him? I was like, yes! Like, I cheered. I was like, yeah! I hate that kid. Like, oh man, the way he craps on Batman and everything. I mean, I understand that's his character, but it's just like, oh, this kid's such a brat. You just want
Yes.
to slap him.
But
Yeah,
even
and
in the
comparatively, he's so bad compared to the other Robins.
Well, my favorite Robin has been and always will be Tim Drake.
Right.
But
Oh yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, the thing I like about Damien is he's just a miserable little shit. And it's like, I know I'm supposed to hate you, but your arrogance actually works for you because you back it up. You're not just arrogant and get your ass kicked every time you turn around. You're arrogant and can back it up.
That's true. It is a little weird
Yeah.
seeing a 10-year-old like take down Deathstroke repeatedly, but we'll
Yeah.
just let that slide, I guess. He's always fighting people that are like 300 pounds, and yeah, he's a good fighter, but you only got like so much weight behind those kicks. At a
Yeah,
certain
right.
point,
You only
it's
have
hard
so
to
much
believe.
power, right?
Yeah, but once again, he was like, they even touched on it in Son of Batman, where it's like he had to get that good because it was expected of him. He is the grandson of Ra's al Ghul. He didn't really have a choice.
His martial arts abilities can be the best in the world, but he's only got so much muscle mass. And you see how he takes hits and flies across the room. Like Deathstroke will be picking him up and just punching him like full shoulder punches into this like 10-year-old boy repeatedly. And it's like he gets up and keeps going. I mean, I know it's a comic book movie, but some of that's hard to believe.
Yeah, right. Because he has no other. He's just a kid, at peak performance. Like,
Yeah.
you're still
Exactly.
gonna have to. You could be the peak 9-year-old. You're gonna get punched by a
9.
35-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I don't know how old is he. I don't know how old he is. He's a teenager now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, that's part of why. Once again, it's why him and Jonathan Kent play off each other so well, because
True.
you have him who was raised to be the leader of a band of assassins, and then you have Jonathan Kent who was raised to pretty much be a farm boy from Kansas, just like his dad.
Yep.
And so you've
Yeah.
got this duality that works really well because they're just complete polar opposites.
A yin and yang.
Mhm.
That is a good point. I love Super Sons. It's definitely Damien at his strongest is when he's in that dynamic duo, so to speak. So yeah, that is a good point. Damien's pretty cool in Super Sons, especially the banter, they have.
Well, it's like what was it, issue 1 or 2 of the original run where they're like, where Damien follows Jonathan around all day, and was actually teaching his class, and he's like, "Well, I would have had my, my doctorate in something like geographical studies or something like that if my mother hadn't dumped my professors." Killed him and dumped his body in the ocean. And Jonathan Kent laughs and he's like, "You're joking, right?" And you just see the look of Damien. He's like, "No, I am not joking."
Yeah. I think that was the first issue where he's following him around in a disguise.
Mm-hmm.
It might be in the first 2 issues, but I definitely remember it happening in the first issue.
Like that, and that's why they play so well off of each other, because they have lived such different lives. And like, even once he started living with his dad, his dad is still Batman, which is technically the face. Bruce Wayne's the mask. When your dad's Batman, just like literal Batman, you're not going to have a fun childhood either way.
Right.
Like the whole panel where you see Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman all holding the lasso of truth, and Wonder Woman's like, "I am Diana Themyscira." Superman's all like, "I'm Clark Kent," and then Batman's literally like, "I'm Batman."
Batman. Yep. There's another one too I thought you were going to bring up where it's like, Superman talking to his son and it's all like sweet and everything. And Batman's just, all cold with Damien.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely different parenting style.
Well, and it's funny because I mentioned Justice League versus Teen Titans earlier, and you see a perfect example of the way like Batman is. It's like he's getting on to Damien, and you see the Flash try to come up. Hey, he did pretty good. I mean, we were getting our ass handed, and Batman just kind of looks back at, not even fully looks at Flash, and Flash just kind of shuts up. And then Superman goes to say something. Superman just looks to the other side, and Superman just kind of looks down, like, okay,
yeah,
nope, I know better.
I always like that dynamic. It's kind of interesting, too, in the current Justice League, how Batman's kind of stepped aside as the leader somewhat and actually promoted. Well, he agreed with the promotion of Martian Manhunter basically taking over. So I thought that was kind of cool. Showed growth in a way.
Well, Batman he's not good in a leadership position. Batman is the tactician. That's where he needs to be. Don't have him lead, have him working on the plan. That's where he shines.
Strategy is good.
Mm-hmm. Trying to have him lead, that's
or even leading one of the teams. Like I'll give Snyder that. The way he's set up his teams in Justice League is really, really clever, I think. Having Martian Manhunter, being able to connect them all telepathically, they've got over 20 heroes in the field that way, with each team being led by, Superman's leading one, Batman, and so on. It's pretty cool. I'll give them that. And it brought in a lot of characters we haven't seen in a while, too, like Vixen and Animal Man, or with Aquaman, because they can turn into animals, so team them up with Aquaman, they can go in the water. A lot of little things like that show he knows what he's doing. At least he understands what the characters are able to do. It might just be the bar is so low, but still, I think he's doing a good job.
Still better than Gail Simone, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. It's like, come on, Gail, it's Wikipedia your character before you write it. It's not hard.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I still find the whole Plastic Man debacle to be ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
it's who cares if there was a bulge? It's Plastic Man. It was a joke. And don't get me wrong. I can't believe I'm defending Gail Simone, but it was a joke.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and it's something that Plastic Man would actually do.
Oh yeah, he's done things that are way crazier than that. So it's kind of a controversy about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any complaints. Maybe it's just because I don't follow those people. But I didn't see any kind of complaints or anything. But I saw this apology out of like kind of nowhere. I didn't know if it really needed to be said or not. To be honest with you, I didn't know who was being upset or who she was apologizing to. It just seemed kind of insincere and kind of silly.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it was trying to create a controversy to get more sales.
Yeah, it's very strange because honestly, like, I mean, if something is so big that you have to apologize, usually I'd probably see something of it or someone would have brought it to my attention, but I didn't see anything.
Well, it's one of those. From what I got from the tweet, it was actually one of her personal friends that took offense to it. Like she showed it off.
Okay.
And it's like, look, if your friends can't take a joke, then maybe you need new friends. It's different if you like are playing Cards Against Humanity and you make, a joke that, for instance, a friend of mine played a dead parents joke to another friend of mine whose parents died in a car accident like a year before, literally to the day, and none of us knew. Like, we just knew her parents had died in a car accident, so we were trying to be funny, and it's like, no, they accidentally died a year ago. Like, and it really hurt, the friend's feelings, but at the same time, the other friend apologized, and she's like, no, you didn't know, you're the new person. Like, that's understandable, but just, hey, check out this, I think it's funny, there's a bulge there, I'm triggered. It's meant to be a joke. This is what Plastic Man does. He's a humorous character. Why are you getting triggered over this? That's my whole thought.
Well, the funny thing is, too, I think the assumption was the people more conservative leaning, you know what I mean, that in the traditional sense, like Orthodox. They probably thought those were the people that would get offended, but they're just like, yeah, Bugs Bunny was dressing up as a woman in the 40s. It's nothing new. But it was actually like the other side, so to speak, that got offended. So it's just like, what can you do to please these folks?
There's really nothing you can do because they will always. I got actually watching a video by I'm not even gonna try to say his name, but he's one of the YouTube news guys, and he was like, there's no way you're going to be able to please a crybaby. Once they get offended, they're offended. Most you can do is ridicule them for being offended over something that is ridiculous. That's the only way to get them to realize that no one cares. You're being stupid. Why don't you just accept the fact that nobody cares about your feelings?
I don't understand getting offended by comic book art. It's no one saying something personally to me. So I don't, like I could complain about a story being silly or dumb or the character not acting like the character should act or whatever I think, my opinion. But to be like, oh my God, I need an apology from the writer. I don't think I ever felt that way. I don't think anyone could make me feel that way. It's kind of silly to think that a panel would really make someone so upset.
Well, it sounds egotistical when you say it like that too. I was offended, so your creation that you made and published, you need to apologize to me for it. Like, who are they to feel so high and mighty?
Yeah. They didn't
I
say, it wasn't in the book like, hey, DMI, you're an asshole or whatever, you know, like, oh, I'd be like, dude, really? You know, but it didn't
doesn't
say that.
Max Bemis actually do stuff like that? Did you see that whole thing?
I don't know if he puts people's actual names in there. Maybe. I don't know.
I thought he did. Wasn't it that whole thing where it was like upside down and it was
Oh,
alien talking?
really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
talking
that was a whole
about
thing recently.
John
thought
Del Rose, like talking shit about him and whatnot in the
Tyler
Invaders.
Esposito, I thought it was.
Yes,
It was both of
Tyler.
them.
Oh, okay.
Well, they both
So
work on it.
So he actually did that. Like, I kind of got the story, but I didn't know. That's kind of messed up, man.
Yeah, I looked at the pictures of it, and if you just look at it, it looks like alien writing.
Mhm.
But if you actually take and flip it around, it's just English upside down, and it's calling that guy out and calling him names and stuff. There was a Bounding Into Comics article about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how I
pretty
feel.
unprofessional. Like, whether you
Very.
have a problem with the guy or not, you should probably just not do that. It's really, really childish. It's really unprofessional. And talking about two
Absolutely.
guys that I think are kind of Max, you got a job, you got a gig at Marvel, but I don't think that's it's a great story, and I don't think it's gonna sell well. So I think you
isn't
should just
that Moon Knight?
focus on that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's your avatar, so you probably feel
Yes.
strongly about this.
very strongly about
It was
how
actually
poorly.
a different book, though, that he did that in.
Yeah,
It was at
yeah,
ID. Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get that, but I'm just saying the two creators. It's kind of, you could treat people with a little more respect. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I don't know if Hasbro was too pleased with him doing that either, with their
Well,
property.
And
Sure.
to me the worst part about it is they went and then was like, oh well, it was a quote unquote joke done by a intern, and it's like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It sounds like
Don't-
Deflate Gate, right? It was the equipment handler who did it. And it's like, okay, you're the quarterback. You didn't notice the ball was different? Like,
Yeah, like
not just any quarterback, but a professional top of the league. Like, all you do is play football. Pretty
Right.
sure you're going to notice if a few pounds are off. No, I was the equipment manager. Oh, okay. That's how this sounded to me too.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is no one would have really cared if he just manned up and like, all right, I was being a dick. I know I shouldn't have. I know that's unprofessional. People have been like, hey, just don't do it again. But now, because it got blamed on a intern, some nameless person that, we all know didn't do it, now it's like, all right, dude, you're just hiding behind. It sounds to me like the company wanted to make it go away, and instead of just having the guy fess up, man up, and apologize, they're like, it was an intern's fault. Go away now.
Just throw him under the bus, huh?
Yeah,
That's too bad.
it's like, and that's part of the reason why a lot of people are getting so tired of the current state of the comic pros at the big two, is because if they screwed up, they just like come out and say, hey, you're right, I screwed up, things would be fine. But no, they never do that. They always go, well, it's not my fault, or well, you just don't understand what's going on, or I have no what was that, I have no obligation to you. Like the whole Chuck Wendig quote unquote TED talk where he was like, I don't have an obligation. I don't make a product. I make art. And it's like, yes, comic books are art, but you are in fact making a product. You are making something that is meant to be commercially sold to the masses and needs to be something that is going to attract the attention of the most people possible.
Right.
Or
You-
at the very least, not drive people away.
Right. I think, you can have your creative side and want to have weird ideas or whatever you want to do, especially if it's it's characters that have been around for years, established characters. But you have to have a good editorial staff if you're in comics, you know. So you have to have smart people that know the continuity of the characters and understand the characters. Because I don't really blame a lot of the writers; they're creative, so they're gonna throw a lot of ideas at you, and the editor's job is to be like, I don't think that's gonna work, or yeah, that's good, or whatever the deal is. But yeah, don't drive people away. Don't fill, everything with such politics all the time, all day long. People don't want to see that. They go to these things, movies, books, novels. It's escapism, right? Like you don't want to turn on, you turn on the news and you see the same stuff that you see in your comic book. Like I get that there's social commentary in comic books and there always has been, but some things are just fun and some things don't have to be so heavy. And some things don't have to be so ridiculous, if you're taking headlines from some of these, goofball news sites and you're making that a story, it's just a little goofy to me.
Well, it's like a Professor Geek said in a video I watched the other day. He was like, yes, comic books have had politics in them, but it was always in the sense of like metaphorical. They never pushed it in your face. And when you try to say that, Professor Xavier and Magneto are allegories for Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, well, that's not entirely true. They are a metaphor. An allegory, things line up practically perfectly. A metaphor is where it allows you the ability to go, these are who they were based off of, but you have more freedom with the story. And that's the way comics has always been. It's always been a metaphor for politics. But it wasn't a straight allegory. It wasn't all up in your face. Like, the biggest problem I will say that I had with Justice League is right off the bat. First, like after the scene with the kids and Superman, like the first thing they do practically is they show quote unquote white supremacists attacking a Muslim shop. And it's like, we don't have that actually happening. Joss Whedon, get your goddamn politics out of my movie. That is unneeded. All that does is sow more division.
That was in Justice League?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
I
remember Wonder Woman saving a bunch of hostages. Those guys were some kind of cult.
But that's after the credits, the opening credits. Give me a sec. It might help if I pause this.
I haven't watched it since it was in the theater. Do you know what do you guys want to weigh in, or it's like a hot topic?
No.
Yeah, I don't want to touch that.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that. So
I don't remember White
either.
Supremacists in Justice League.
I watched that thing like every day for.
I've seen it once.
Oh yeah, maybe that's why. My favorite scene though is when Wonder Woman saves all those hostages.
Oh,
I've watched
yeah.
that particular scene on YouTube like 4 times. It's so cool.
Let me see.
I love it. Yeah, definitely. I love that kind of stuff, though. That's like good superhero comic book stuff. Just have the superheroes,
Absolutely.
have Superman stop a plane from crashing, have Wonder Woman stop terrorists, have Batman catch a criminal. Like, this isn't complicated stuff. You put that basic formula in a movie, you could probably make $1 billion. It doesn't have to be like, oh, we got Batman and he's going to fight Superman, and Lex has got this whole side plot that requires like 500 million coincidences and people to act out of character to work. And it's just all
putting
this
a
stuff.
Jolly Rancher in someone's mouth.
Oh yeah, that was.
Oh my god,
that was like a fetish thing. I don't even know.
That was kind of weird too. I
that was super weird.
That was like he was. I don't even know. I can't speculate.
Jesse Eisenberg has the right personality to play Lex Luthor. If he were to bulk up and put on the muscle, he would be on point.
He was he was transitioning into that Lex, right? You saw him get his head shaved at the
Yep.
end. So he's transitioning. He'll be a man soon. No, I don't know. He was just very neurotic, right?
He was
Like,
very different.
yeah.
I like when Michael Rosenbaum played Lex. I think he did a really good job with it.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was all right having a new interpretation, but he really played it up. Wasn't even the biggest problem with the movie, really.
No.
I don't know. It wasn't perfect. Could have been better. But yeah, I like that scene and where Wonder Woman saves all those hostages. You could have made a whole movie with that kind of thing. Like that felt like a
Absolutely. I like the scene where right after Superman's resurrected and that like split second where he meets the eye gaze of Flash. I think that's really, really well done.
Yeah, that was one of the best scenes.
Uh-huh.
All right. The like right going into the time URL going right into that scene is in the Hangouts chat. Give me one moment.
You could do a screen share probably if you want.
All right. Let me do.
Might as well. Then we can all see.
Alright. Let me put in the theater mode. Hopefully this works because I'm not sure which screen it'll share.
Uh-oh.
Let me see. Give me that. Look, I run dual screen.
Oh, cool. Oh, I get what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty new with live streams too. Oh, okay, I see it. Let me click on you.
Oh,
there you go.
All right.
Let's see this.
I remember that. That was right after old friggin' what's his face died. Oh,
right there.
I'm blanking.
This whole bit, like, that was.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Like, that was blatant in your face. Like, this, like, basically Joss Whedon trying to project that this happens every day, and it's like, no, it doesn't.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, though.
It doesn't really bother me, I guess.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. You know, Kingdom Comes from 1996, and that's got that whole, like, America Commando wanting to basically kill all the immigrants, and they fight at the friggin' Statue of Liberty and stuff. Like, that's in your face. So, I don't know. I see what you mean, but I don't think I would even noticed. He looked like a Metallica fan. Didn't it say Metallica on his hoodie?
I don't know. That's the way it came across to me. Like, I noticed, because then again, like I said, my channel used to be a politics channel, so I followed a lot of that. And so I know how I know Joss Whedon is a far left ideologue who's a heavy feminist. You know, he's a supporter of Antifa, things like that. He's the type of person that believes that, you know, these attacks are happening every day and that there's 11 million Nazis in the country, when it's like, no, it's not, you jackass.
Well, I don't think.
Oh my God.
I don't think there are that many Nazis, that's for sure. Like, this, it's happening today, I think, right? The Unite for the Right part 2. Mm-hmm. And like 20 people showed up. I mean, there aren't 11 million Nazis. At least there better not be. But I don't think there are, honestly. I think very few people are actually like hateful to that extreme. Like,
but the point
even if go ahead.
The point I'm making is that's what people like Joss Whedon, who are these far left ideologues, that's what they believe. If you are right of far left, I mean, come on, the whole quartering Gen Con thing, the constant push by all these comic pros to keep Nazis out of comics when the definition of Nazi is that they use is so broad that it pretty much could mean anybody. And that's the point I'm making. Is, you know, it's a lot of these comic pros think this way, and they push that narrative. Like, a big problem I have with Mark Waid, and part of the reason why I don't like him, is he got a dude kicked off a Marvel board for pointing out things that Mark Waid has actually done. And once he had the dude banned, then he goes and gives his version of the events, which, of course, this is Mark Waid. He's not going to be honest.
Have you got any horror stories about Mark Waid DMI that you might know from the inside? Because I've heard some crazy stuff. Like, I mean, obviously, I always talk about because I always talk about Kingdom Come, but I've also I like his writing, obviously, but I've heard a lot of crazy stuff about him too.
I've heard things here and there, nothing that I could, I wouldn't know. It's not fact, so whatever. But I've met him personally.
Really? Okay.
I've met him personally at Heroes Con. I talked to him very briefly. He seemed nice and normal and stuff. Obviously, that was a few years ago. So I don't know. I feel like he's probably gonna lose a case here in a couple months or whatever. I think he's gonna get sued pretty bad, but that's just my opinion personally. I don't really have any. Yeah, I don't really know anything else outside of it or whatever. But yeah, he's I enjoyed his work, but he's kind of a strange cat, I think.
Did you hear about the whole? I mean, this is going way back. Did you hear about CrossGen when he worked there? And
yeah, I mean, I've heard that about the wreath and all that. That's just kind of odd to me, but I've heard stories about him melting down and having tantrums and stuff like that, and from other people that are in the industry have talked about it, and so it's just kind of I don't know. You see a lot when you hear those stories, and then you see, obviously, before he had quit Twitter and came back and left and then came back 9 times or whatever he did. You kind of see the explosion when he was talking about the, the strong protect the weak and all that stuff, and then he kind of spazzed out and left Twitter again or something after that. You could see, if you hear stories about him melting down in real life, you kind of see it play out on Twitter. Like, you could just ignore people. I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously don't get as amount of notifications as he does, but I can not take the bait.
So,
interesting.
Like, my whole thing is with him is he was once one of the greats, and now he's this. He's pretty much ruined any goodwill he had with all the old comic fans, and it's like, it makes me sad because he is a good writer. He can be a good writer, and then you just see how he acts now, and it's like his whole bit about the strong protect the weak. Mark, you are not strong. You are one of the weak who tries to pretend to be strong, but at the same time, most of the people that you call are weak are not weak. They are strong themselves if you only give them the opportunity to prove their strength. That's the whole point about comics. Every one of us have strength. We're more willing to stand up for somebody else than we are for ourselves, because that's what the comic books, if you will, have kind of trained us to do.
Right.
And like me, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm some sort of badass or anything, but I spar big guys. That's, things like that. I'm not going to stick up for myself. I'm like, whatever. But if I see someone messing with someone else or, attacking someone else, that's when I'm like, all right, time to use, all those ass kickings to my advantage.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what, the comics, since I was a kid on up, reading them has taught me. It takes a bigger man to walk away from a fight, but it takes an even bigger man to be willing to stick up for somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
And so Mark Waid, the way he acts and how he treats people shows he shows he's not the big man. He's a bully. He's the guy that needs to be knocked down a few pegs because he does have to attack people to fill that void that, I guess you could say, that the ego has created. for lack of a better term, all an ego is the anesthetic that makes up for one's own ineptitudes.
I guess just on a personal level, like, you know, it's been kind of hard in some ways with a lot of these comic creators, finding out things like all the rumors and things that we know for sure that Mark Waid has done. I I think I'm at a point though where I'm just kind of separating what they do on their personal time from what they've created, because it's like I like Kingdom Come a lot. I like
hmm
things Kurt Busiek has written a lot. I like Astro City, and it's just like, am I gonna cut all these people off? I mean, Patrick Zurcher, I reached out to him a couple of times. I love his art, and he's got me blocked on Twitter, but I'm still gonna, still accept his art and still be a fan of it. So I don't know. For me, yeah, he probably smashed up his office at CrossGen, and he probably screwed over Richard with Antarctic Press and stuff. But gosh, I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like that's separate from what he's created.
Oh yeah, be right back real quick.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. It's like, do you want to let emotions ruin something you enjoy or not? And for me, I'm just gonna enjoy it, you know.
You just gotta separate it.
Yeah. I mean, that's really all there is to it at the end of the day. It's like you're gonna be mad all the time if you focus on this stuff and then just whittle down your comic book collection to the point where, you know, you've got like 3 indies that you backed on Indiegogo that are approved by, you know, the community. So I don't know. Personally, I just read what I like.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's like I talked to a couple of guys on here and stuff like that. You know, I don't do background checks of any of my customers, and I don't do background checks of any of the creators. Some of the creators, obviously, I've never even heard of, and they could probably say some really, really awful things on social media, but I just don't see it because I don't know who they are, right? So I don't care. Like, I get wanting to take a stance against people and stuff like that, and I don't want to give my money to that person, and that's cool. I'm fine with that. You know, I just sell things that people ask me for. You know, I don't. That's it. I don't care whose name is on it, and I don't care, you know, who the person is that wants to buy it. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. But you know, I do see a number of it all day, and some of these people have me blocked, and some of these people I've unfollowed, and I don't have anybody blocked on Twitter, but I've definitely muted a few people, and even with like not being blocked or unfollowing someone and being muted, I still see screenshots of their nonsense all the time. And sometimes, I don't really respond to it on Twitter. I don't know if you noticed on my feed, I really don't say too much about
You just
that
post
stuff.
comic book panels for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, I just think it's silly. I think there's a lot of cowards and clowns out there.
Well,
that talk about all
there's
that
an
stuff.
industry and outrage for both sides, so
Mm-hmm.
they play off each other, and you know, I get it. You know, it's a daily drama cycle that they can both feed into, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's not good for comics.
No, not at all. And you're right. It is a cycle, and it's hard to. Sometimes it's very hard. I find myself getting sucked into it, you know.
Oh,
And I
me
do
too.
I do say things every now and again, like, "Dude, what is wrong with this person? Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about?" Like, before you tweeted that, like, did you say, how is this going to help the comic book industry, and how is this going to help get more sales? Because last time I checked, 50 stores did close last year. 15 more stores have closed, this year or whatever it was. And I know you're a person, and your whole life isn't just, selling comics and stuff, but like when you say some really hateful things, or you paint your enemies in such a bad light over a Twitter beef, it's just ridiculous to me. And it's like, why would you do that? Like, how is this helping anybody other than being more hateful,
Yeah, they aren't concerned with sales, it seems like. At least a lot of them aren't. Plus, too, I mean, you look at someone like Kurt Busiek or Mark Waid, they're making money. Like Mark Waid, they still sell. You can buy a new copy of Kingdom Come off Amazon right now. Like, he's fine. He could retire today and still make money off of comics for the rest of his life. So I think that's a certain extent to it too. Like Jerry Conway, you look at his Wikipedia, you're gonna have to scroll the page. He's written a lot for DC, but you follow him on Twitter and it's all political, So I really couldn't wrap my head around that. But he's 70. He's probably checked out. He's gonna be able to make a living off of his old work. So I don't know if that's a part of it or not.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that these guys, for me, I agree. A lot of these guys have put their time in. They did do it. They should be respected, but then they let their personal politics guide everything they did, and it ruined a lot of their works for the fans. Like that's just my belief on a lot of the older guys, and then the new guys we already know can't, like what was his name? Eric Larson. Yes, Eric Larson, and his whole bit about if you're a Nazi.
He's not new though.
No, but I'm using him as an example.
Oh, sure.
Where he had this whole Twitter rant where he's like, there are plenty of conservatives who get work in the industry and this, that, and the other, but really, how many conservatives are in that we know for a fact that are in the industry working for DC or Marvel right now?
Chuck Dixon, or I guess Bane Conquest is wrapped up.
Yeah, Ethan Van Sciver.
Yeah,
but he's not there anymore either.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, how would we even know though? I mean,
yeah, right.
I don't know how these guys vote.
Well,
I'm sure that the majority are left leaning, but that's kind of the case for any entertainment, it seems like.
Mhm.
But it's like these guys always say, DNC always says too, that there's a lot of there are conservatives in there that just don't talk about it because I don't know.
Exactly.
It's a whole kind of thing that's so like a topic I don't want to touch on too much.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's cool. It's just so explosive, right?
Well,
like-
it's more a shame that that's what comics has. I guess you could say just become. You can't just sit down, pick up a comic, and enjoy the comic for being a comic. It's you pick up a comic and you have the writers and artists politics so up in your face, it ruins the escapism. Like DMI said earlier, it's like this is a form of escape. You want to read a comic to get away from what all's going on within the world, and then they make it so in your face you can't get away from it. That's like for me.
Absolutely.
I've been into politics since I was like a kid, and so I always read comic books to kind of get away from the politics, the fact that I was a nerd in the 80s and 90s, so I got beat up a lot, things like that.
Before it was cool, huh?
Yeah, before it was cool. And for me it's like that's why I loved comic books. It was my escape away from everything that went wrong. Here's a world in my hands where people at least tried to be the best versions of themselves. People at least tried to get along. It was, let's put our differences aside so we can help make the world a better place. That's why I love Star Trek so much. It was, we'd moved past such things as identity politics and the need for interpersonal conflicts with each other because we don't like that guy for whatever reason. So that we're going to just be a douche to him just to get rid of him. Or, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's what these things were. They were our escape from that to show us that there can be a better world if we only strive to help make it that way.
Yeah.
Hey, my battery's gonna die, so I'm gonna have to say goodbye.
Well, thanks for being here. We might wrap it up actually. It's probably like midnight where you are, right?
That's 11. So,
Okay. Man, I'm off
but
an
thanks for
hour.
having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's always really great to have your insight. Sorry you had to listen to us talk about magic.
No, it's fine. That's cool.
That's
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's my bad. We're gonna have to talk about magic again. I don't know. We'll work that in somehow. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Did you guys, I guess, Nerdette, did you have any final thoughts? We'll probably just wrap it up here.
No, yeah, go ahead and wrap it up. That's completely fine.
Okay, that was part of it though. Did you have anything else you wanted to say before we
Oh
go?
no, I didn't. You guys, I lean away from most of the politics because I'm opinionated and I'm not getting into it.
It's hard, right? Like
It
I
is.
know my channel could blow up if I would go the DNC Yellow Flash route, but just it's I don't know. It's a war, and I just
It
don't
is.
want
And
to.
you're gonna get a lot of hate if you lean that way. Your channel's got good content. You don't want to. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't
Come
want to
on.
be just mundane Matt, but I'm kind of sticking to the just middle of the road right now.
Hey,
Good thinking.
come on one of my live streams. You can be as opinionated as you want because that's kind of what we do. We talk about these things. Like,
But I have a feeling we might disagree a little bit.
that's fine. If you without disagreement, you do not get other views on situations.
Absolutely. No, I don't mean disrespectfully. I just mean I'm very opinionated. I'm left wing, but I'm not crazy. I have my own values and my own morals and I stick to them. That's more important than any left or right has ever been.
That's the best thing you can be. Is be true to yourself.
Absolutely.
That's the thing too. I think at the end of the day, like if we start breaking each other into left and right, it's like we got along for several hours. You know, we all actually have a lot in
Exactly.
common. And like when it comes down to like our actual morals and beliefs and stuff, I bet they're not that different.
Exactly.
I'm actually I did the political compass test. I am actually center or more left leaning on the libertarian side. So that should tell you something.
Well, all right.
Personal freedoms are always good.
Absolutely.
But we got to let DMI go. He's got the early morning tomorrow. Really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Nice
Thank
talking to you.
Yep.
for
Thanks,
having me on.
everyone. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Be sure and check out Nerdette's channel and Bob Dolebot, right?
Yes.
Cool,
Mine's
cool.
Nerd Over 30. That's the name of my channel.
Awesome. All right, guys. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. It was a lot of fun. Bye.
Later, folks.